Dear DSA, this is an informative program that happens every week, and it's always a pleasure for us to have you around, and you know how it goes. We are going to have a very interesting time today, so we encourage you to be as engaging as possible. Today the topic is very interesting in itself, and we'll be expecting a lot of callers to call in and weigh in on the discussion today. Last week we talked about Islamization, and it was a very interesting time. DSA had done a whole lot of work before I got into the studio, but today I am here live and direct from the beginning, and it's going to be an interesting time. So let me see those of you who might have joined and say hello to you as you are saying hello too. As it's customary with us, I like to also relate with you in the course of the program. I can see Topsy Gift, Mrs. Abiola Olojo, Shinwe Ananaba, Ifi Otaluka, Josephine Akori. I can see Messi Olubode. I want to welcome all of you. So as you're coming in, please go ahead and share. I invite your friends, and also be as engaging as possible. So without further ado, I think it's time to bring in my guest, my partner, my brother, and my mentor to the show today, and he's no other person than Dr. Sunday Adelaja. You're very much welcome, sir.
My pleasure.
So, in Yoruba they say "Ada ojo ojo pe." It means that we
have an appointment.
We fixed the appointment, and the date is here.
Okay.
So, and the date that is here is called June 12th. The June 12th was made a national holiday, was proclaimed to be a national holiday by President Muhammadu Buhari last year. And so today being June 12th makes it the first time that the nation will be observing a public holiday. And we'll start in line of that because today we're talking all about current affairs. Is that not interesting? Current affairs. And this is Nigerian current affairs. Of course, I know many of our viewers are not from Nigeria, but we hope that you'll find the discourse interesting. And
as also goes Nigeria, so goes Africa.
Yeah, and also pick out some things that may also be helpful to your nation. So DSA, it's June 12th. June 12th and its significance. And the whole idea of June 12th is about the democracy. So I think we should talk about that since that's the most recent before we go into other topics. So for you, what does June 12th signify to you? Or does it have any significance to you? I think that should be the question.
You know, all these symbolism and celebrations and public holidays, you know, I don't have anything against them, against this one too, but I saw an article today on Facebook where the American ambassador was making jest of Nigeria and trying to throw a stone on our direction by saying in Nigeria every day is Democracy Day. We had one Democracy Day on the 29th of May, and 2 weeks later, now is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, we're having another Democracy Day. So he was giving the interview that to them is and everything is public holiday, then public holiday. Now when will people work? So I said, well, maybe the problem is, I think it was supposed to be a bit kinder to us by understanding the concept and the perspective we're coming from and the story behind all the things. But if you think about it critically, are we really going to benefit big time from it? Why don't they cancel that 29?
Yeah, it has been cancelled.
No, they didn't cancel it
what
outright.
They did was
it's still going to remain public holiday.
No, only during handovers.
Yes.
And but no, even for handover, it's been cancelled actually. It's a working day.
So no, it was a public holiday.
This year,
yes.
But you know, what happened was the Senate ratified it after that. So, you know, it was the president's proclamation, but it needed the ratification of the Senate.
Yes,
so the
but
Senate
are you sure they cancelled
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. So right now from 29th, from next year, 29th of May will be a working day.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Because the way it is this year, at least, is that it was.
Yeah.
Then another thing is that if you go into Nigerian media, you will see that a lot of Nigerian media was making a lot of fuss about the fact that on the 29th of May, that Buhari didn't give a speech that was when it was inaugurated, that he didn't give a speech. And I was telling, I think I told you, and I told Bano, yeah, that the reason why he didn't give the speech, I could even guess it, I'm not in Nigeria, I'm here, is because he's planning to give it on the 12th. Because on the 12th is when he has inaugurated as the new Democracy Day. So he just honored that, he accepted the oath of office or whatever they call it, but he was going to give his speech on the 12th. And I think that's what has happened.
Yeah, but some people were of the view that inauguration is inauguration anyway. That I should have given an inauguration speech and I probably give a democracy speech. But I believe probably because of his own tacit nature, he doesn't like to talk anyway.
Yeah, why should he just be saying the same thing? He will say one thing, then he will come and say again.
Yeah, so he just
it's a waste of time.
To put much and also to give more value, more weight to this new date. So I think that's why.
So what do I think about this 12th of June? For me, it didn't it didn't affect me directly, but we've got to honor the day because of the sacrifice that was made in that day and on behalf of the whole nation. So if a fragment of the nation demanded and fought for that day, then we should all recognize the fact that that is important. That we should all, recognize the people who fought for that day, because there was a whole movement, Adeco or something, of people who went on exile, who sacrificed their lives to, fight for that democracy. Most of them were from Western Nigeria. And so a lot of people from Eastern and Northern Nigeria might not really, be enthusiastic. Even the younger people from Western Nigeria might not be enthusiastic, because when they try to name a university over there, rename the university to MKO University, the younger Nigerians, they didn't know the value. They were not even born, some of them, at that time. So some of them didn't know the significance of that June 12 and the sacrifice that was made. But if you look at it from the historical perspective, even though I was away from the country, but because of what has happened, somebody gave his life, and not one person. A lot of people died in the process of the protests and the street protests. And then one family, Abiola's family, lost two main pillars of their family. They lost their mother, they lost their father, not because of their own personal gain or whatever, but because of fighting and taking a position for the country. So I think it's a great idea, because 29th was just a day that the power was handed over, that was fixed for power to be handed over from military to Obasanjo that time for the Third Republic. And that was the only significance. Otherwise, no real big significance for that day. So June 12th has a bigger significance. People will still say, it was the time when an election was conducted, and somebody gave his life. This guy won the election. It's the freest election, and he won the election, and it was robbed of it. So the people fought for justice, they fought for democracy, and we got it. So it has a lot of significance. First of all, that injustice would not reign forever. Secondly, that truth could be buried, could be killed. People could even be killed and buried, and years could pass, but truth will always prevail, whatsoever the situation might be in life. So that's second significance. Third significance, that the sacrifice that we make for the sake of our nations and for the sake of other people, that it pays at the long run. It might not pay right now in the immediate effect, but in the long run, that sacrifice will be worth it. So a lot of messages that Nigerian people could get from this democracy day, I guess.
And I think that gives so much weight to the one of the lines of the national anthem, the labor of our heroes past shall not be in vain. Yeah, and like you were saying about the history and why the millennials may not have so much connection to that, I think it's also because history has been expunged from the curriculum for a long while.
Wow.
So people were not taught. But for the Maulag, for the Lagos state that was renamed, I think it was a petty decision by the former president then. So, because if that had been allowed, it would have given it the connotation that some people wanted to give it, that June 12 is a Southwest affair. So, if you take a school from the Southwest and name it, it doesn't give it a national outlook. So that's why a lot of activists then rejected it, that no, this is petty. You need something more central, something more unifying, something more national to show what it is all about. But it's very interesting that...
Well, I don't see that as... I heard that argument. People were saying that they want to make it... even though I don't support Jonathan in most of his decisions, and I'm not a supporter, but I don't think so. I don't think he had that in mind. I think it is just the Yorubas and the Southwest people who made it to look like that. That is, they want to make it a Southwest something. For example, when Tafawa Balewa, University was named after him, even though he was a national figure, but the Tafawa Balewa University was just named in a state. But that doesn't reduce him. Same thing with Ahmadu Bello. He was a national leader too, but he was named in his state. Even Obafemi Awolowo University. You cannot say Obafemi Awolowo was just a Western or region or something, but he was a national person. But the thing was just named, the university was just named in the West. Same with Nnamdi Azikiwe. The university was just named after him also over there. So it is difficult for me to buy into that.
No, I think the circumstances is what is different. For others, they died more naturally. Natural death.
Like after Tafawa Balewa, they didn't die naturally.
No. Of course, he didn't die natural death, but for Abiola, the case was more of a...
Because what I'm saying is that the fact that, is it not UNILAG they wanted?
Yeah, UNILAG.
Because UNILAG, I don't even see UNILAG as a Western university.
It's a federal university, but just because it was in the West...
Yeah, that doesn't, I mean, for me,
it
that
cannot be substantiated.
Just like you
that
said,
sense,
that it's a petty argument.
Yeah.
I think that particular argument, people
who
it's too petty. It's too petty. They were using it against Jonathan, and I kept quiet that time because I know that it's too petty for me to even be repeating that kind of argument. But they wanted to make a political one, and they didn't have arguments. They didn't have better arguments. But personally, I think that the real argument is that we should just stand on the truth of what has happened, that the students of UNILAG, they don't want finish. They don't want, don't give it any contamination and, try, they don't want it. And since they don't want it, let's agree with the people. People don't want. So.
They don't want to be very Maulag.
Yeah.
But in any case, those were the argument of those who had that, and the students also probably didn't want. Everything just worked in that sense. And also, politically too then, the Southwest were feeling sidelined. So
that might be one of the reasons why they came up with that.
Yeah, that had given a whole lot of background.
Yeah, when they came up with that argument, I was just looking at them, I was just saying, Yoruba Ronu for real. Because if that is the best thing they could come up with, I could destroy that argument in 5 minutes.
No, for them, it was more of, okay, that's one of the arguments. The next argument was that beyond just naming, they wanted the recognition
of course,
that date.
That is another one.
Yeah. So that just merely making UNILAG is just like saying it's a Western affair. So we are giving you the university, but no, we want a national approach to it. The recognition of what has happened.
Which Jonathan didn't do. He was just trying to give.
But it's funny enough that Buhari himself, who was probably the victim of the whole situation, and probably, maybe you tell the story or I do.
So you tell us, yes.
Who was the victim of the whole situation that preceded the June 12th, was the one who came back, and he's been quite seen as a vindictive person.
No, people might not see what we are talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. People ordinarily would today because when we say June 12th, obviously Abiola is the hero of the June 12th. He was the one who won the election. It was taken away from him. He was the one who preached Hope 93, and everybody bought into that agenda. Nobody saw it was a Muslim ticket, even though there was Khan then. Everybody just wanted hope. Everybody wanted things to be normal, and it was taken away from him. Of course, he's the icon of that moment. But one must go back into history and see probably who was this man, Abiola, even before then. You realize that this is the same thing we talk over and over again. Men who make history.
I think you shouldn't leave out the fact that it was not just an election that he won, but they said it is the freest and fairest
yes,
election. But what I think is the most significant is that it is the only election that has been conducted in the country whereby all major regions of Nigeria voted for one candidate.
One candidate, yes.
So East, West, North, Middle Belt, the whole of Nigeria voted for him.
His opponent was Bashir Tofa from Kano State. He defeated Tofa in his ward, in his local government in the state.
So the whole country voted for somebody, who is from the south and a Muslim, and also had a Muslim running mate.
A Muslim running mate, and nobody was concerned about that because everybody was looking from the national outlook, from the national perspective. But what was I saying before then? That before 93 things had happened. Abiola himself had been alleged to be the one sponsoring a lot of coups in Nigeria, and particularly the one that took out Buhari, because he was friends with Babangida, and there was the arrangement already that Babangida was going to come in and then do an election, and Abiola was going to become president. But in that, Buhari was a victim of that conspiracy, of the fact that Abiola himself was a coup sponsorer, or a sponsored coups, and Buhari was a victim of that.
In what sense?
In the sense that he was sent out.
You have not still mentioned what made him the victim.
Yeah. The last coup that was planned successfully with Babangida and that ring of his coup plotters was the one that sent Buhari out of office.
Yes, that's the most important thing. Without you mention, you are just assuming that people know it.
Oh, okay.
And you are not mentioning the main meat.
Moving around, beating around the bush. Okay. So. No, I was also trying to be careful and make sure I use the word alleged.
But in people's ears, how do they know? What they are hearing is what they will judge.
All right. So, allegedly...
But you are going to many times talking about...
Allegedly, Abiola himself was the one... Abiola was the one who sponsored the coup that took Buhari out of the picture, even though... and, of course, there was the allegation then that Abiola was also involved in a lot of illicit financial transaction together with Babangida, and the investigations was already cracking down on them, and so they just had to take the guy out of the picture. But in every sense of the word and every sense of reality, that for a guy like that to come back 30 years after, or 20 years after, 20-something years after,
no, 30
years after, to come and correct the wrongs
34 years
of what had happened, and Abiola being taken out of life. He was killed under very mysterious circumstances, and it's funny enough that Abacha even died before him. They say Abacha died in June, Abiola died in July. Ordinarily, he was just meant to be released, but well, the conspiracy remains. So, but the biggest beneficiary of the whole situation, which was Obasanjo, I don't know why he just pretended as though that didn't happen. So the man was not cheated once, he was cheated while he was alive, and he was still cheated in death. And this
in what sense was it?
In the sense that when the whole idea of Obasanjo coming on board was to placate the Southwest in that sense, right? That, okay, Abiola had died and we want some healing process to come in.
So where is the cheating in death?
The cheating in death is that he took May 29 and called the Democracy Day and almost sat on the whole idea that Abiola even existed or anything. Nothing like that. In fact, even when they were struggling, everyone was saying, oh no, this guy take this date, he did as if nothing happened. And it was just blind to that. And that's why there has never been any time where Abiola has been celebrated where you find Obasanjo. No, I've never seen him anywhere where Abiola or June 12th or anything, which he was the biggest beneficiary of, is being celebrated. You will never see Obasanjo. The same thing, you will never see him celebrate Awolowo. But what one would have expected is, they were kingsmen. In fact, it was even said that they attended the same school with Fela and Soyinka. All of them attended the same secondary school. One would have expected...
And also, Abiola helped paid for the school fees.
For the school fees of Obasanjo. Wow, I didn't even know that part.
In 1 year when he couldn't make it.
Wow, I never even knew that part. But one would have expected that it was Obasanjo was going to right all of those wrong and give him the befitting place needed in history.
It will be interesting to go into the biography of Obasanjo, the last My Watch, and see what he had to write about that. I'm sure he must have written something about that in his biography.
I didn't see that.
I would be surprised if he didn't.
I've never seen any piece of Obasanjo acknowledging any of this.
You know that book is in 3 volumes of 1,000 pages each.
Oh, really?
My Watch is a dangerous book. Over 1,000 pages.
I've not.
And they are in 3. It's hard to put them in 3 volumes.
Wow.
Big ones.
No, I know Obasanjo is a brilliant guy, personally, but he's not, from my own opinion, I think he's the most overrated leader in Nigeria and the beneficiary of the biggest cynicism, and he in fact knows how to play the game.
I agree with the second assertion, but I don't agree with the first one.
That is a beneficiary of the June 12th?
No, I agree with that one.
Yeah, but you don't agree with which one?
You said it's overrated.
Yeah, I think
it's the most overrated.
I think, yeah, within the context of Nigerian leadership.
Well, no, before you make such a statement, I'm sitting with you here.
Yes, yes.
Either you have to substantiate it, or it's one thing to say he was the beneficiary of, some intrigues and some mechanizations of machineries in the government. Yes. But that it was overrated, it's not possible to say that.
Let's start from the war.
Because the word overrated, as a government, as a leader, as a president, tell me any one president that did half of what he did. He's the greatest achiever we've ever had in the history of Nigeria, both as military leader and as civilian leader. Nobody has performed better than him.
Let's talk about the things he has done. For instance, one of the achievements you may want to mention, anybody want to mention, is the fact that he brought telecommunications to Nigeria.
No, it's the least one. I don't want to mention that.
But even that
is too elementary.
Too elementary.
For me, yeah.
Okay. He raised IGR. I'm trying to really...
He has too much. You see, that is the problem with Nigeria. We don't go into details.
Yes, sir.
But if you go into analysis and research and details, you will see that what Obasanjo did, both as a military leader, I was alive that time, and as a civilian leader, all Nigerian presidents put together didn't do 50% of it. All of them put together, including Murtala Mohammed, including Gowon. Not what he did for Nigeria. If that's why I said, if I had been politically involved and I had had the time to speak, an opportunity, I would have campaigned for his third term.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. So, but Nigerian elite, they are so surface and so peripheral, peripheral, that they just, they just don't think they don't have foresight. They don't think. They don't use. They lose sentiments too much. Much of sentiment and not too much of analysis and empirical facts. So, if you are going to just use facts and analysis, all this trouble, these same people who said they don't want third term and, Obasanjo should be removed, they are the same ones who are crying now that we are the capital of poverty and that the economy has reduced and that the country, Nigeria, is falling apart. Let's go and do restructuring. They are the ones who are calling for restructuring now. The same people who campaign, especially from Western elite, who campaign against Obasanjo's third term. Because they don't care what happens later on. Let's just remove him, it doesn't matter. Put anybody, just let him not be there. Because they want to say, oh, it will destroy our democracy and things like that, as if we have democracy, rubbish. So, but then, once the guy goes finish, what then will happen later on? They don't care. And then when things began to dive stream or dive nosed, and then they again began to cry. But they will not connect it to the action they made, to the decision they made, by saying that the person who got it right, can you tell, let me ask you a small question.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me the average GDP growth of Nigeria during the time of Obasanjo?
No, I can't tell you that, sir.
Okay.
But I know during the time
I
of
wanted
Obasanjo.
to tell you.
Okay, please.
The average GDP growth of Nigeria during Obasanjo was 7% every year, yes, average. But that is if we include the first 4 years.
Yeah.
Because the first 4 years, right now we are complaining that Jonathan did horribly bad. Because he had oil, was selling for 100 and above. And that we are saying the reason, including me, I'm giving as an argument,
yes, sir,
the reason why Buhari couldn't perform is that the oil price has fallen.
Went down, yeah.
So what do we mean that has fallen? The smallest amount of oil price during Buhari is 48.
No, that was 27.
Huh?
27. When he came in, it was 27.
No. You check it.
I will,
it cannot be 27.
It was 27.
I doubt it.
Yes. Okay, boy, continue.
Yeah.
I will just.
So it is 40 something, maybe 47. But even if it went down to 27, maybe just for a month or a year for a short time.
Right,
but but the average for check it. But the average lowest amount of dollar that oil has been since Buhari came in is 40, 45, 40 something. But when Obasanjo came in, the average?
What was the average? Yes.
8.
Okay.
$8. And from $8, and then that was the minimum, but average was $18 or $20, something like that. But from that $8, it was able to put. No, but this is 2003.
No, for the first time since 2000. This was in 2016.
Yeah. Okay. But how long was it there? It was not there for long.
No, this was January 20, 2016.
Yeah, how long was it?
Oh, how long?
Yeah,
okay, I will check.
It was just a fall. So anyway, but what I'm trying to say is that, can you imagine 8?
Okay.
Even if it is, let's even take $27 per barrel. But when Obasanjo was there, it was $8 per barrel. It was catastrophic for Nigeria. So, but he was still, that is, if you put that average, so because of that, we were in minus. When Buhari came, the GDP was still growing at 2% plus. But then it was falling, 6, but when it got there, it was still at 2 or so, something like
falling.
that. Yes. So, but when Obasanjo got there, it was minus 2. So, but he was able to bring it to the average of 7% GDP growth out of the 2 something. But the highest for the second session when he was there, for the second 4 years, it was the average growth of Nigerian GDP was 10%. Yes, Nigeria GDP even hit 12%. It was one of the highest in the world growth. Yeah. So how can you get, there is a saying in sports, you don't change a winning team. You don't change a winning team. So when you get something right, especially, it's just like during the time of Singapore or any other country, when they get it right, like if you get it right with a leader that is able to take the country in the right direction, just keep it on. So that was what the situation was. So now let me tell you, what are the things that Obasanjo did? Yeah, you don't know. You say you don't.
Yeah,
you can't see.
I want you to finish so I can give my own argument.
Do you want me to say?
Yeah, I want you to say.
Okay.
Your point.
So what are the things that Obasanjo did? I'm not even talking. Now, if you ask anybody, what did Obasanjo do? in a second something. They will say, oh, GSM or whatever they call it, telecommunication. That is the least thing that he did. What is the most important thing that he did? When Obasanjo came in, we were paying 50% of our, actually, we were using between 50 to 75% of our GDP to pay debt. To serve, just to service debt every year. Yeah. That man came and used his ring generalship, traveled the world, and was able to negotiate debt cancellation. That is the biggest thing for Nigeria.
But that was not just Nigeria. And yeah, that was not an Obasanjo achievement.
No, it is an Obasanjo achievement.
No, Obasanjo, because the Paris Club...
By the way, later on you debunk my points.
Okay.
But this was Obasanjo's achievement. I was alive. I was politically active.
Okay, sir.
Very, very political. Even the other African countries, to deny Obasanjo that credit is to be wicked. Okay. Even other African countries cannot even deny him. Even other African countries are saying thanks to Obasanjo. Blair, Clinton, agreed, and Chirac. Those are the people he was always meeting with them. And why was he meeting with them? Because he was already in the, he was a good friend of Jimmy Carter when he was president. So he used that connection and others to get all these presidents together. So they did it not just for Nigeria, but for other countries, but mainly for Nigeria. Nigeria was the main beneficiary of that. And it is thanks to his efforts and Nigeria that other African countries just got little. 70% of the debt cancellation was for Nigeria. Only other African countries only get 30%. So that is one. Because if they had not removed the debt servicing from our budget, we would have been crippled. That is number one. Number two, the economy, the GDP growth. Nigeria started growing for the first time in like 10 years. During the time of Obasanjo, Abacha, Nigeria was not growing. Babangida, Nigeria was not growing. It was just falling. The economy, if you were alive during the time of Babangida, human beings will be lying in the streets of Lagos, Kaduna, even Abuja, dead bodies. Nobody will be there to pick them up. People, the hunger and the desperation, the destruction in Nigeria, human beings will be lying in the streets. Dead bodies, and nobody will be picking them up. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You will see one there, you will see one here, you see one. Now, you cannot even recognize Nigeria now. Compared to that time, it's like we are living in heaven right now. Yeah. And this man came and cleared the whole thing. That is, he brought order. Thirdly, which is one of the most important things, when Obasanjo came in, Nigeria was falling apart. We think that we're having problem right now with Boko Haram herdsmen. Nigerians just have short memories because Nigeria was in a war situation when it came. What was happening was that in the West, they had something they call OPC. Yeah. They were basically the ruler. No, you will not hear about any governor. OPC was ruling the something. Then in the East, they had another something like that, Masop. They were the ones, they were like the policemen, they were like the government, they would be burning people in the street. They would be, killing armed robbers. And then in the North, they have Arewa or whatever they call it. They had another group in the North. So everywhere in the country, they have and they were militarized people. Everybody, they had divided the country. It was during that time that America, CIA said, Nigeria cannot survive it, that we are going to fall. Obasanjo came. You cannot even remember that kind of chaos anymore, that Nigeria used to be there. The chaos that we were having, and because he was a military strong man, his military experience, he was not like good kind of guy like Buhari like this. So he came with power. He was using anything that Obasanjo wants to do, he does it. So he brought order to the country. He brought sanity to the country. Next point, security. We think that we don't have security problem. I'm talking of armed robbers. Yeah. Those days, armed robbers they will make announcement and say, we are coming to this street. And people will be going from one house to the other, and there will be no police, nothing. Obasanjo put an end to that. If you know what these guys have done. Next point, Obasanjo instituted for the first time in the history of Nigeria, fight against corruption. And it was during his government that serving ministers were put in jail. including the police, the Inspector General of Police himself. This was during, before that, and during his time, Rubadu was the #1 anti-corruption fighter in the whole world. People will say, oh, he was using it for political gain or something, but that is another debatable something. Next point, what are the other things Obasanjo did? There is something he did that is called bank capitalization. Before Obasanjo came, no Nigerian banks was in the first 10,000 list of banks in the world. But when this guy did capitalization, we had 10 Nigerian banks, not just being in the first 10,000, they came to the first 1,000 for the first time in the history. 10 immediately. I mean, that just boosted the economy. That just revolutionized Nigerian economy. It did an unbelievable thing. Next point, when Nigeria came, when Obasanjo came, they had just killed the John leader, the Ogoni leader, whatever his name was, the poet, the Kensan Rewa, yeah. And Ogoni land, and that place was like chaos. Obasanjo is the one who took the decision to be paying them 13%.
Obasanjo did not take that decision.
Okay.
They had to fight for it. That was Alamesi. Yeah. That was one of the reasons why there was a
It was during his tenure that decision happened. Was taken. Yeah. So in a situation like that, you have to give his government the credit. Either they fought for it or not, but that is the decision. He allocated that because without him signing it wouldn't have happened. Okay. Because there were a lot of military stuff that were going on there, and he was able to bring peace. But one of the greatest threats that was coming to Nigeria during the time of Obasanjo was what they used to call Sharia law. Sharia law was about to take over all of the northern part of Nigeria. The way he played them, the way he managed the situation, if not for Obasanjo, Nigeria would have been a caliphate, or what they call it. All those states, because he said, okay, let them take it. But he used political intelligence to be able to regulate the whole thing. Right now, we almost don't hear about that Sharia law thing. Because that time when the crisis came, it was like Americans saying Nigeria will never survive it. So, what are the other things Obasanjo did? Before Obasanjo came, no Nigerian could even go through Turkey to go to anywhere, or through Amsterdam, or through, we were traveling that time, you have to get visa everywhere. Even if you are not coming out of just transit. I think maybe you remember transit but when Obasanjo started, his foreign policies and everything, the stability that came, the European Union took the decision that the image, because they have red, yellow, some places, they just improved Nigeria something to less danger. And that's how they began to allow Nigerians. I mean, the disgrace Nigerians were going through in the airports all over the world. If you have Nigerian passports, it was just horrible. And Obasanjo restored the dignity of the country. I can keep on going and going. So to say that he's overrated. Yeah. Either is to be ignorant of history or to be ignorant of facts. Now I want to hear your own facts.
Yes. Obasanjo spent 8 years in the second time, not to talk of the first 3 years he had spent. And of course, it will not be impossible to name things that he has done. In fact, even Jonathan, that I believe is one of the worst of recent times, we are still able to list certain things he's done. So it's not for the fact that he's not done anything. And one must not also forget the transition that Obasanjo took over from the worst possible times, which was from military dictatorship and moment of mostly isolation. Nigeria has been suspended from so many things because of the military that had been in power. So of course, a lot of sanctions were lifted. He did some things, no doubt about that. But as of 2003, even as of 2003, everybody was tired of Obasanjo's government in Nigeria. Everybody was tired of it. That's why even when you look at it, the American ambassador, Stuart,
2003.
even when Buhari contested against Obasanjo, it was even reported that Buhari won.
Yeah, but
because
I'm talking about the facts.
Yeah, we are talking about the fact, yeah.
Because people are tired. People are tired of Buhari now too, so that is just talk.
Okay.
We are talking of facts.
Okay. So the political assassinations that were going on in the country then, almost in every region. Should we talk about the OD massacre?
No, okay, there were political assassination. I agree.
Yes.
No problem.
So there was no way. There was no way one would have said yes, security improved and the way the political assassination were going on.
Don't go away from the topic. Oh.
Yes. I said it's overrated.
So overrated, you know the meaning of overrated?
Yeah, overrated, meaning that
his achievements
yes,
are not as great.
No, the man himself is not as great as the way he likes to be portrayed. That does not take away the fact that he has achieved some things. So I've never debated.
It's just like you are talking like Raphael that says DSA is overrated.
No. That's not it, DSA.
You know what they say? DSA is overrated. He has old glory.
No. I'm not talking about old glory.
No, you are not talking about that. But you are sounding like him. That's what I'm saying. Because you need facts. So okay, if you say DSA is overrated, okay, has he built the largest church in Europe? Yes or no? Yes. Has he been the only black person that has pastored 99% white person, anywhere in the world? Yes or no? Yes. So what is overrated? Okay. That I mentioned the same facts to you about Obasanjo. You just have to come and say, no, he didn't do this, or he didn't do this, or he did this. Or what made him to be overrated? Overrated means you are higher than you deserve.
Yeah, than you deserve. So it's not saying, I'm not saying Obasanjo is not great. I'm saying it's overrated. Let's look who are Obasanjo's products. Because when you're talking about leadership now, we're talking even about third term and the fact that he would have been good. But we must not forget that Obasanjo chose his successor. In fact, the two of them, Yar'Adua and Jonathan. So there was really probably no excuse as to that. Number two.
Is that good or bad?
That he chose his successor.
Yes.
There's nothing bad in that.
Okay.
Because it's politics.
No, even the successors he shows, the Yar'Adua, is he a good person or a bad person?
Time did not allow us measure much.
Of course, he's one of the best people.
No, I would not say that, yes.
Okay.
I would not say that. I won't say that because time did not allow us measure that. Now, we should not forget that the Yar'Adua we're talking about, his closest associates was Ibori, Saraki. In fact, Saraki then was known as de facto vice president.
Yes.
Those were his main associates. Yes. So time did not really allow us to measure much of what would have been of his government.
So you don't think that Yar'Adua did well?
No, I don't think I can rate him.
Even in the 2 years he was there, the things he did, they are memorable. They are much better than Jonathan, even our own Buhari right now. Some of the things he did.
Okay, yes.
Because he stopped the militants.
With what?
That's number one. With incentive, the method might be wrong, which but he got result.
Now, yes, you have taught us much about process.
Yes.
Much about process.
Yes.
Now, what Yar'Adua did was to enrich folks, and that's the whole idea of the Ibori connection.
But it would have cost Nigeria more.
No doubt. But what we are saying is, look at the way Buhari came into that picture now.
Yes.
Of course, people are still getting paid, but most of the money that used to be paid directly to individuals are going more into community projects.
But we have to give that man the credit.
I'm not saying that. What I have said is that time did not allow me be able to put a full
Let's go back to Obasanjo. So, because you want to tell me that Obasanjo
is overrated. I've mentioned one of the cases now that who are his products. Let's look at those who are his products. They are the Fanika days of now, the Sarakis, the people who, as of today, are the ones pulling Nigeria back. They are the particular people who are calling the bane of Nigeria.
What about his products that are pushing Nigeria forward?
Who?
Like El Rufai.
Would you call El Rufai an Obasanjo product?
Of course. Even nobody would deny that.
Okay.
Even El Rufai himself would not deny it.
Who else?
Like Dangote. Is he pulling Nigeria backward?
Is Dangote an Obasanjo product?
Of course. Even he himself. Obasanjo, you know, in the history of Nigeria, there was no one billionaire before Obasanjo came.
Okay.
But when Obasanjo came, he had a goal that he was going to produce 100 billionaires. This is a story that from the mouth, I'm telling you now the story that I heard from the mouth of two people. Okay. I heard it from the mouth of Obasanjo himself, and I heard it recently from the mouth of Dangote himself. So he said, my Oga failed, but he produced 50 of us.
Now, the idea becomes?
No, the idea behind that is, that's very significant.
Okay.
Because if you look at America, you know something they call transnational, what they call transnational companies?
Yeah.
Yes. Those are the giants upon which America, not just America, if you look at South Korea, if you look at Japan, if you look at the major economies. So there is no way Nigeria was meant to be a great nation without having billionaires. So that strategy, you know, can you imagine right now that, you know, what can you just take Dangote alone? What is adding to the economy of Nigeria?
But they say if you would take away the defense of Obasanjo now, yourself, you are not so much of a capitalist. Because that was the idea you were challenging. What's his name? This former CBN deputy governor,
Solido
Mogalu, when you interviewed him. You also know the impact of a mix of socialism and capitalism. Now, one cannot measure success on the basis of how many billionaires are built, because by that you've built trust and not necessarily nation. So you have a lot of big trust, you can have 50 of them, 200 of them, and you can still have a very poor population. The same battle America is fighting even till now. They've been fighting it from the days of JP Morgan Chase, all of those, Rockefeller. They are still fighting that battle now. So for a nation that is as poor as Nigeria, that is not an achievement at all. Because at the end of the day...
Did you read the book, The Great Men That Built America?
Yeah, no, I watched the documentary.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched the documentary. So at the end of the day...
Even from the documentary, you could get it that without such men, there is no way a country like America could have been built.
I understand.
Like Nigeria too would have been built.
I understand that factor. But what we are saying is that America was built on the back of slavery.
Yeah, that was before them.
When slavery now left, when slavery now was abolished, it was now built on the back of, the industrialization was built on the back of cheap labor that made a lot poor but few rich. The question is, with the way Nigeria is poor now, as of now, can Nigeria afford that type of industrialization?
Yes.
That's why I said...
Because we have to first of all create wealth. That's where the disagreement that I had with Mogalu is that he wanted us to just do like America and everybody just go and become entrepreneurs, just build country on entrepreneurs alone. But my own thing is that no, we need entrepreneurs to build the wealth. Then we need to come back down and have social programs that will take, unlike the way America is, that will be more like Europe and take care of the most vulnerable people in the society. So
in that sense, that means you would agree with me that the biggest economic policy will not be how many billionaires we are able to create, but how much of medium and small scale enterprise network that we are able to build across the country. Because the whole goal of building those big scales, very good, very brilliant. But without those small scale, where people can be thousandaires, where we can produce in clusters, then build and push up to the center, the whole idea of creating billionaires become a mirage. And that's why we have billionaires like Kola Aluko, who after they seized the oil, they cease to exist. So most of Nigeria's billionaires today were built on the basis of oil. That's why, you understand, on the basis of oil. True. So by the time the oil factor is taken out, the billionaires are not there. And that's why after 16 years, after you have spent 8 years,
we still have at least 50 of them.
I understand. After you have spent 8 years, we are still talking about diversification. That's even after under 8 years of Jonathan.
No, we are no more talking about diversification.
Now, because Buhari came.
Before
Buhari came, there was no diversification. We were just a monopolized economy.
There was. You want me to tell you, to show you the article that I wrote before Buhari came, when I said Nigeria's economy is not 75% dependent on oil. It's only 14. I wrote that one in 2015 before Buhari came in. And since then, diversification had already taken place. Only it was not, they are not making too big noise about it. But that Ngozi Ekwejele or whatever, she did a good job
in Obasanjo's first term.
Yes,
she did a good job.
Yes, first time. Yes.
But when it was Jonathan's time, she was horrible for the nation.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's that's on that day. Then we've talked about the old security killings. We talk about the fact that he is the biggest beneficiary of the cynicism in Nigeria and did almost nothing to stop it apart from benefit from it himself. And
which is possible.
Yeah, which is the truth. And of course, even your book proves it, proves that case. If we go back even to the war, he was not the winner of the war.
Yes.
He was just the front man who stood there to claim the glory. And that's why till today, people are hated.
The cynicism you are talking
exactly.
about.
So at the end of the day,
that doesn't have anything to do with his presidency.
That I'm talking about the man. I said he's one of the most overrated.
He's not as a president. I'm talking of his achievement.
No. I'm not saying he did not have any achievement, DSA. I'm saying the man is one of the most overrated.
Not the president, though.
Not president.
As president, he's the most rated. He's not overrated as president. In fact, he's underrated.
As president,
up till now, Nigerians have not really acknowledged what that man did for Nigeria.
I'm not going to put him, because at the end of the day, in Nigeria, I think the Goodluck Jonathan administration and, of course, the administrations we've had before Obasanjo has given us a very low threshold of measuring governance.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and to be very sincere, if I should be comparing what Obasanjo did to Jonathan, Obasanjo beat him hands down. If I should compare to what I've seen
him to Buhari now, compare him to Buhari.
To Buhari's first time, Obasanjo beats him hands down.
That is why Obasanjo is angry and say, you met oil at $40-something. I met it at 8. Why are you complaining?
Obasanjo is not talking about, he's an hypocrite for that, but he's not talking about the traps he had set. Because one of the problems Nigeria
he supported Buhari to come in
the first time.
So
but why
what
not
trap did this
exactly
set?
Because as of the economic framework that Obasanjo had built for Nigeria, like you were saying, his idea was raising individuals, and those individuals had become
capitalism.
Yeah, they had become some kind of cabals that are now the ones in control of the framework of the economy. If you fight them, they collapse the economy. So
that is more of their political party, PDP.
Not even just political party. The economy, even the economic people, they say.
Tony Emelu.
Let me give an example.
Elumelu. That's his product. Is he fighting economy?
No, that's one person.
No, okay. Let's talk about Jim Ovia. Is he fighting economy? That's another one of his products.
No, Jim Ovia was not Obasanjo's product.
Oh, he is.
No, he wasn't. Yes.
He is.
He's
one of the billionaires.
No, Jim Ovia started his bank as of the 1990s.
He has started his bank, but where was his bank before then?
His
bank was not even rated.
No, it was maybe not as rated, but of course, when the economy grows,
the bank went from, is it $50 million to 20 billion.
Okay, if that is
20 billion.
Yes, if that is happening, then why did banks like Savannah? Why did banks like Savannah?
Yes.
Okay, even a big bank had to merge with Platinum.
Yes.
But banks like Savannah, banks like
that was what I was talking.
This Saraki's bank that he stole all the money away. Why did those ones not survive?
But that happened before. That happened during the military.
No,
time.
It happened during Obasanjo's time.
Yeah.
Because Okocha's money was even there.
Obasanjo gave everybody opportunity for restructuring. So, the restructuring, the terminology, the term was that they must have recapitalization of 25 billion naira that time.
But even that one was not enough. If we look at it, of course, I understand that he was the one in charge, the box stopper.
It's Soludo.
But we'll be talking about Soludo.
But it was his minister. Now he gave him, what did Soludo say? He said if the man had not given us free hand to function, that we would have been able to deliver.
But thank God he was not withdrawing as much as Jonathan in any case. But DSA, this man, Obasanjo, is the biggest beneficiary of everything in Nigeria and is still one of the most overrated personalities. That does not take away the fact that his government had some
when you wanted to say overrated, you would have said it was, overrated at the elections, this second election, when people thought if Obasanjo will endorse Atiku, that it means that everybody will vote for Atiku and, you know, they will lose. You know, Buhari will lose. So that shows that he had been overrated. That one, but not in his achievements.
As a man, I may not be able to give all the proof, so we don't, because that's one of the things we also be doing. We are meant to be talking about Abiola now. Now we're talking about Obasanjo.
Okay, let's go to today's topic.
To be giving unnecessary
attention. He's going to be the beneficiary again.
He's going to be the beneficiary.
He knows how to do it, eh? Because during the war, he was the beneficiary, even though he didn't fight the war so much.
You know, so at the end of the day, why we got to Obasanjo, just to go back to the topic, was that he had the chance to have said this guy was wronged and to have done what Buhari did now, but he did not. And it took Buhari, who I had earlier explained, who was a
If you go to his first term achievements, yes, 3 years he was there, he built this national airport we're having, Murtala Mohammed Airport. Nobody has done anything similar since then. He built Third Mainland Bridge, or what they call the bridge in Lagos. Those two bridges across Ocean and.
Did Obasanjo build
Oh
that?
yeah, huh? No. The big bridge in Lagos. I mean, in Lagos, he built it. His government built it. He took.
No, Obasanjo didn't build that.
No, they are not. Maybe not. Tell me the bridges. He built one of them.
No, in fact, one of the problems. What are the bridges? One of the problems with Obasanjo and the Southwest.
Is it called mainland bridge?
No, that one was since 1990. No.
I'm talking. I was in Nigeria this time, and I was alive during the 70s. I know.
No, are you talking of his first time?
His first time.
Oh, I don't know what he did.
70s.
I don't know what he did.
I'm talking of 70s.
Yeah, I thought you were talking. Yes, but in fact, even with that, one of the problems.
Yes. Yes.
But that was. I don't know if he started it, but it was opened in 1990. So, but one of the problems Southwest people have with him till today is that he did nothing there in Southwest. He withheld the allocation of Lagos State for more than a year. They had a political problem with Tinubu. And whatever the political problem was, but the idea was that he did not do anything
for Southwest.
So, more like that. We are going back to Obasanjo. Okay. So, for Abiola, he himself was not a saint, and of course, probably that would be one of the characteristics of every great man, that great men are not saints.
Yeah.
It's just that they've been able to accomplish great. Even the Obasanjo I'm talking about, that is
not a saint.
It's not that is overrated. At the end of the day, that does not erode anything from the greatness that he has achieved, and will still be ascribed to him even after he's dead. It's just my own personal opinion that he's not as great as has been ascribed to him. So, but the 12th of June, which was the movement to actualize the will of the people, the hope of the people, which was democracy, return back to civilian rule. This man gave his life for it. And DS always says that if you have to find something to die for before you can actually know you found something to live for. And one of the key scenarios there is that Babangida, Ibrahim Babangida, is probably one of the villains of the whole situation.
Yes.
And this is where the connect is. That the problem that we had then is still the same problem we have now. There were some set of young soldiers who were very overzealous. They were the group of coup plotters. Go and check all the coup that has been happening in Nigeria, you always see their names. They've always been there from the beginning. So they were the Yaraduas, the Obasanjo, the T.Y. Danjuma, the Sonny Abacha, the Babangida. They were just this group of young, and they were in one clique. In fact,
but Yar'Adua had retired by the time Babangida came now.
Had he?
Yeah.
Well, but
Yar'Adua retired a long time.
But it was because of coup plotting that Abacha put him in prison.
You know when Yar'Adua retired?
When is it?
1979.
That was after Obasanjo came?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he couldn't have been.
No, he was still a coup plotter because that's why.
The two coup plotters after Obasanjo and Adua left.
Yeah,
it was
T.Y. Danjuma.
T.Y. Danjuma, Babangida himself.
Babangida himself, J.T. Oseni.
Abasha,
yeah.
Oseni, and
there's this other guy, Gusau.
Yes, those are the people, who are the core
ring of coup plotters.
Yes, and they were they were friends, they were colleagues with Babangida.
Yeah. So those same people, with this guy, we should not forget to mention his name, from Niger State, Abdul Salam, all of them. Those same people were the ones threatening Babangida to deal with him if he hands over. Because they had a succession plan of who was going to take over from who. So Babangida, not that he didn't want to hand over, but he was circumvented. And of course, no matter what it is, he was the president then, and people expected him to
do. Did you say he was the villain or the victim?
He was the villain and somewhat a victim of his own group. So, but no one really cares about that. The whole idea was that he was the one who annulled the election. But I'm just saying that the problem that happened then is still what we are facing now.
But he has not repented up to now. He's just saying that I took the bad decision.
Yeah.
He's not repenting. But the person who repented on his behalf was Buhari. Instead of, somebody just said it yesterday that he should actually prosecute all the people who are
that will lead to
blame for
that will lead to a whole lot. Because if he should revisit just that one...
No, it's not my opinion.
No, I'm saying that person, if he revisit just that one, then it will have to go to every other coup in Nigeria and who were the beneficiaries. And you will see people that
But you said the Abiola situation was different from all other ones now, all other history.
No, I was saying that in the sense of...
Well, even in this sense too, is it not different from all other coups? I mean, because this one was killing him, not giving him his mandate.
Yeah, but this one
That's why the guy was saying it should be, they should revisit and take all the people who annulled 12th of June results. That's what the guy was saying.
That is possible, but I don't know.
So he was not talking about the coup, but the annulment.
I don't know the feasibility of that, given that there's an unspoken rule in Nigeria, and there are some people who are, no matter what they do, they're untouchable.
Because the person who annulled is Babangida.
Babangida.
Yeah. So Babangida, Abasha has already got his own judgment.
With the way Nigeria is, I don't know who will touch Babangida. I don't know who will touch him. It's just like saying you touch Obasanjo. Abdul Salam, who will touch those ones? Even Jonathan, nobody can touch him. Because that's the way the society has been brought up. And that's number one. Number two, I think it is until after Buhari is gone, and I think that's the significance of him winning the election he won now. This will be the first time that he's cutting off the link that the military was still using to hold Nigeria back. Because if you look at it since 1999, the military has still been ruling Nigeria via proxy.
No, how is this one cutting it?
Yeah, because now none of them supported him and he still won.
You're talking of election. We're talking about June 12th now.
No, I'm saying that those guys who were responsible for June 12th are still the same ring holding Nigeria back even till now.
Have they been removed?
No, now is Buhari coming in now that...
But they're still there now.
But now their whole structure has been detached from the mainstream governance. Before then, it will be said that Obasanjo supported...
You are the one who said nobody can arrest them. The same gang as Obasanjo, Babangida, Abdul Salami. You are just saying that, are they not the same people still controlling from behind?
But as it is, from mainstream, one we expect that from this year, 2019 going forward, that their funds has been cut off. Because obviously Buhari got into power without them, and he can probably make his...
I have another question for you.
Yes, sir.
Since you put it as Democracy Day, June 12th.
I think this is the first time we'll be having a debate where we've been on the opposite side.
Yes.
As long as you cannot disagree with DSA.
They don't know DSA. They don't know DSA now. I have another question for you.
Yes.
Should Abiola should he have risked his life like that? Should he have done what he did? This is the most unpleasant question. Nobody wants to talk about this.
Yes, I was listening to Ayo Okpadokun this morning.
Yes, he was one of the players those days too.
And he was saying that everything he did was planned out meticulously.
By him?
By the group.
By his team?
By his team, the Nadeco group and everything. So, you know, there was the Ekpetedo declaration that led to his arrest.
Yes, but they did that. Okay, no, I'm talking about from hindsight.
Okay, from hindsight?
Yes.
Should he have done that?
Yes.
I think he would have done that again and again.
No, I'm asking you, should he have, is it the right decision he took? All those things he did by losing his life and, you know, doing the declaration and everything. Looking at the whole thing from hindsight, losing his wife,
yes,
should he have done that?
Yes, sometimes there is a lot of price to pay, and one cannot, because of the price to pay, not do what. I think that's what separates the great from the ordinary.
What needs to be done? Yeah,
because at the end of the day, everybody will die. The question is, what did you live for?
Yes, like the book that you like.
Who will come to your funeral. And that's why we are celebrating him now, because of what.
Because in that book, we spoke about there are 3 things that you have to do to be remembered for life.
Yes, sir.
And you have to live, you know. You have to live for purpose.
Yes, sir.
Or live for people. Or live for principles. Yeah. So, but most of, I said, that's why I used to say in that book, I said also that even people like Hitler and Lenin, the fact that even they were evil people, but they live for their people.
Yes.
As long as they live for their people, even though they are villains or they are evil people, but they will never be forgotten. Never. Because they live for their own people.
Even if they didn't live for people, that they lived for a principle.
A principle. They will never be forgotten. So that has justified this guy.
Yeah.
That nobody, even Obasanjo was there for 8 years, he didn't want to mention him.
Yes.
He didn't want to recognize him. Even Yar'Adua didn't recognize him.
No.
Jonathan didn't recognize him. So no matter who neglects you, if you live for those same principles, one day, the truth will still resurrect. But my own question, the reason why so from that perspective, I agree with you that yes, it's justified. Because that's why we are celebrating him now. Yeah. So if you look at it from the result of that we have today, that we are celebrating him, then we could say, yes, he took the right decision. But I have some doubts, and I think this, my opinion, will not be popular, especially with Nigerians, especially with Nadeco people and democracy people. They are even going to say I'm mad, because the opinion that I'm going to say now is going to be similar to saying the position which I disagree with myself, which is like saying Ojukwu was right by running away. Which I disagree with. Even though Ojukwu ran away and lived another 50 years almost. But, that's what people say. And they have a saying like that in Igbo. Anybody that run away from the battle, he would stand a chance to live another.
He who fights and run, lives to fight another
day. Yeah. I think they wrote it in the Shiba.
And even in Yoruba, there's an idea like that.
Okay.
Moja Mosa, laughing making konjulo jogun.
Wow, I didn't know that. So that is what this guy did, or Ojukwu did. But personally, I think that it was a coward decision, and you shouldn't run away. If you are the leader of your people, don't run away when they are killing your people. Go out there and stop and kill, get killed, than running away from the battle. But that is what Abiola did. But in the case of Abiola, there are 2 things that he did that I personally would have advised against.
Yeah, I would love to know that.
Number 1, that declaration, what do you call the declaration? Ekpetedo, yes. That Ekpetedo declaration, I think it was a mistake. I think it was ill-advised.
Because there was a government in place?
That is totally against the constitution of the land. Because they have not declared you, even though you won, but you have not been declared. That's number 1. Number 2, I would have done that declaration. I would have done the declaration, but from exile. Because he was in exile. He was traveling in all over the country. And then he flew into the country to do the declaration. I would have done it the opposite. I would have done it as a government in exile. And from there, putting pressure on the illegal government of Obasanjo that was there. So that is one thing that I disagree with, number one.
But some other people will, some other people will say is there are people risking their lives on the ground. Some other people would have said that what he did was good to have come on ground. But the point, I think what happened was that looking back now and a lot of other things that happened,
that's why
he would have survived, but there was a betrayal. He was sold out.
It's not just because of the betrayal. You yourself just said it now, that the Nadeko people and that Okwadoko and other people say that it was planned out. And I know that those kind of people were the people pushing him. You know, Nigeria and especially Yoruba race with subservience. Especially when you are so powerful like Abiola was, and he had money. Anything he says, nobody was trying to question him or disagree with him. So most of his people who surrounded him that time, they were subservient people. No, they were not just saying yes. Yes is when I tell you to do something and you're going to do it. But they are saying, go for it. Go and take your place.
Like the show boys.
Yeah. You are calling me excellency or just the same thing like the show guys. They were not just saying yes, boys. Yes, boy is small. But they were the ones saying, you are the president. Go and declare. Yes, go and declare. We will fight. We will bring people up. But when they arrest the guy, all of them went to exile themselves.
Yeah.
That's number one. For example, I wouldn't have done that if I were the one with what I know and with my experience in Ukraine here. If I were supposed to do that kind of declaration, they would never be able to arrest me. I would have put things in place in such a way that they would not be able to arrest me. So by doing that declaration, I would have brought, before I do the declaration, because it had about maybe 50,000, 20,000 people there, maybe less is when they did the declaration. But I would have brought like 2 million people, 3 million, paralyzed the whole city, just like we did in Ukraine here, paralyzed the whole city, the whole country. And we would have arranged it, planned it well, so that in every local government, in every state, we have people coming out. So there will be so much mass movement. Because the people who voted for him, they were massive. They were in the millions. And that million that voted for him, when they arrested him, they just sat at home. The people who were coming out to throw stones, if you go and look at the video, I was alive that time, I used to say, maybe 10 people, 20, not 10 people, maybe 2,000 people, 3,000 people coming out to demonstrate. What is that? When you have millions of people like that, no government can stand it. You know, if the people power, like in Egypt, like that's what they would have put in place.
But what if, for instance, I'm sure before he came in, the American government was aware.
The American government told him not to come.
They told him not to come?
Yes. Quote me. And the British government told him not to come too. That is the number one problem. That's why they couldn't fight for him. They couldn't deliver him. They couldn't. But he was trusting on the sycophants around him.
Okay.
To believe that, no, you are the president. Go and take it back. You know, we are behind you. But who are we are behind you? When they put him in prison, he was alone sitting down there. All the other people still escaped. And
they even sold him out.
Some of them even sold him out. They collected money. Yes.
And kept quiet.
Yeah, and kept quiet.
Even some of the
people who are mentioning too. Yeah. So you know, they sold him out, and that is how life is. You think you are ready to die, you are a hero. When you are in prison alone by yourself, you are no more any hero. And people are living their lives. So after 2-3 days, their children are marrying, they are going to abroad.
In fact, that was the biggest lesson I learned in my days in Student Union. That any fight, I'm not ready to fight for myself. Not necessarily, even if it's your case. But if I'm not convinced to fight it, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Because I fought for people who eventually even said I'm the problem.
Yeah. So that is how life is.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I would say I would have done differently myself if I were, in the place of Abiola. That little thing, because he empowered Abacha himself.
Yeah.
Because he made Abacha too powerful by surrendering himself to them and allowing them to cage him and put him in prison. He just made everybody started being afraid of
I think he thought he was going to come back because I watched the video of the arrest day. He
Yeah.
thought it was something they were going to arrest him and then release him.
Yeah. He was thinking that I know them very well.
Yeah, because they were all friends. They were
I
in
know
their
that
circle.
we are friends. We are friends by friends, and we are Muslim also. I mean, Muslim. They are Muslim. That they will not. They are God fearing. They will not allow. They will not do this. He was thinking they will not do those things. Well, some of those people are juntas.
But the funny thing is that now even Abacha did not kill him.
No. Well, yeah, for me, as far as I'm concerned, he killed him by incarcerating him there in that place. Even if he died a normal human death, but that condition, they said they didn't even allow him to go to see sun for 40 years. He didn't even see sun like this for 4 years. He was not even allowed to come out of his room, his cell, where he was. He couldn't even go, walk in the corridor, stroll. So that's the first mistake I think he made. Second mistake that I think he made is this. And this one is going to be very painful, especially to the family and to the people who believe that Abiola is a hero. And I think he's a hero too, for giving his life. Not too many people can can go to that extent. But there are some heroism that are not necessary. There are some boldness that are not
warranted.
Yeah, that are not justified by history. Even though the fact that he had lived for principles and for people, he will always be remembered anyway. He will always be remembered. And for purpose, maybe, he will always be remembered. But when they came to him, I think they probably killed him in that place. It's possible they killed him. Because before he died, 2 days before he died, no, first of all, 2 weeks before he died, they sent not the Nigerian government though, international community, sent Obasanjo. That's where they fought. It's just for you to know where Obasanjo, why Obasanjo would not mention him. Obasanjo led a pan-Yoruba group consisting of Obas. The leaders, they wanted anybody that he could respect, that Abiola could respect. So Obasanjo was the leader of the pan-Yoruba group that came to see him in the prison to convince him to reject the claim to the throne. They just say, the declaration you made, just put it down. Don't let there be fresh election or something like that. So don't claim the throne. It will be conflict in the country. So he said he will not renounce.
Because the fresh election that was being planned
was for him.
Abacha was the sole candidate.
Yeah, but he this is but you know what happened later on to Abacha. So this was the first option they gave him.
Yes.
But even after Abacha had died, Kofi Annan was the general secretary of this, and he came with a team of highly powered people, world leaders, to talk to him and say, okay, Abacha has died now. So now let's come out, but don't come out and say I'm coming out as the president. No, let the country see peace, because there are people who are against, and he said, no, I will not denounce, because it was the mandate of the people. And he has already made the declaration.
And you spent 4 years.
Yeah, he spent 4 years in prison. Yeah. So he refused.
Then all of a sudden you just...
Then the United States sent their representative.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, it was after that he died. So, is it the same?
Even probably
the next day or so.
That's where it was fishy.
Yeah, that's why it was fishy. Because it was not just the United States. There had people, things were very rough there. And it's because they say, if they don't remove him with that kind of attitude that I would never
renounce
my claim, then the country would never have peace.
But the country would have had peace.
No, because the military was saying we are ready to hand over
but
to the
not
civilian.
Abiola.
Yes. And they were the ones in government right now. And they were the condition for them. There were two, the United States and the world community were coming to give condition to two people. To the military, that they should leave and hand over and let election be conducted. And then but the military was saying, okay, we are ready to do that. But we are going to do another election. We are not going to allow Abiola to come and just replace us. because they were the ones who were to blame for it. And they know that if Abiola comes and take over like that, they are all dead men. They are all dead men, including their retired people. I mean, because he was in prison for 4 years, they denied him of something. They are all dead men. So the military was saying, instead of giving the same thing to him, we would rather die here. We will not leave Nigeria. We are going to remain as military. But they were saying, but if he's going to renounce that thing, then we too will go. So that is how the world was able to put pressure on Nigeria military to go. So they were ready to go, but his own side was the problem. So I think that is when the world was saying that, okay, since this country will never, because they were afraid that Nigeria will, because Nigeria started having refugees. Everybody was running away from Nigeria. It was going to, split.
It was going to create a whole lot of
yeah. So they said, we need to resolve this problem, even if it's going to cost us taking out the two of them. Both Abacha and they said because he was being stupid. So even though so why do I say if it was me, what would I have done?
After having the mandate,
yes, I've had the mandate. I won the election.
4 years in prison, and now you have the opportunity.
I have spent 4 years in prison. I would have said, okay, no problem. I denounce.
Then what next?
I denounce. Let me come out first. And when I come out first, my life is not ending yet. Now it was only 54 or 56 years old, 50 something. I would have said, I am contesting the next election. And I know that if the country had trusted me before, they would trust me again. That's how I would have seen it.
But even him he was alleged also to be an election rigger. He knows how it works. Because he was
alleged he rigged that one. No.
Against Awolowo.
No, he only paid the people. He was not the one involved himself now.
He paid a lot to use coffin
but not this one we are talking about right
So
now.
what I'm saying is that knowing how elections were rigged,
how election could be won.
Yeah. he probably knows.
He could have used that option. Because I think that sometimes compromise
is better, right?
Sometimes compromise is also a victory. There are different ways to get victory. Not just by stubbornly saying, na my own. I must fight my fight. Sometimes you need to keep quiet. Sometimes you need to even step back. It could be like a loss, but it's better to lose the battle and win the war. Yeah.
So there's a book called The Art of War.
Yes. Yeah, the Chinese guy. So those are the two things I would have said I would have done differently. Even not just now that I'm taking this decision. When I had that time, 1992, that he was going back to Nigeria, and they took interview from him on CNN, and he was saying, I am going back. I'm the president. Something just happened to me. I just said, this guy has killed himself. I didn't know they would kill him. But I said, why now? Don't do that. I was screaming in my room. I didn't want him to go. But he went, and because he was a very stubborn guy. And then he had all these Nigerians around him saying, President, no, Excellency.
His Excellency.
His Excellency. And all of them disappeared and went to take their share later.
So probably that would be the biggest lesson Tinubu took from him.
He's so smart. Tinubu acted smartly. You know what he did? By even making Buhari to come and not pushing himself by all means. He had also tried to push himself by all means, and it was always limited to the Southwest.
Yeah.
And now see his influence.
Because
Tinubu has learned from it.
Yeah.
They were friends with...
Well, that's a whole lot on Democracy Day. And
what do you think about the naming of stadium?
The stadium.
National Stadium.
Well, I think it's a good one. It's a welcome one.
No, it is amazing.
And the guy himself is a
footballer.
Sports
he had a football club.
Team.
Yes.
Yeah, Abiola Babes.
And
all over Africa, it was known as Pillar of Sports. They used to call him Pillar of Sports. So the stadium, but it's just that the state of that particular stadium now, I hope after it's been named after him, they'll go and take care of it. Very poor state.
Are you serious?
As of now. So
that's probably the best stadium in the country.
No. Nigeria has a problem with maintenance. Maintenance culture.
Horrible. After all the millions that
has gone into it. Yeah. So hopefully now they will go back.
But okay, for example, Obasanjo just spoke recently and said he challenged Buhari to say, why will you permit it that the top 4 or 5 senior citizens in Nigeria, not citizens, what do you call them? Number 1 citizen or the top 4, the top most 4 or 5 most senior citizens in Nigeria are Muslims. Why should you allow that? After the National Assembly instituted, what's his name? The new Speaker of the Senate.
Senate President.
Senate President. What was the new one?
Ahmed
Lawal. That Ahmed Lawal is a Muslim. Then the one they went to install for the Speaker too is a Muslim.
Okay.
And the President is a Muslim himself. And the Chief Judge is a Muslim.
Okay.
So, but Obasanjo was challenging that never has that happened in this country.
No, that's a very big lie.
No, you cannot lie.
It's a very big lie. Let's start, DSA. Good job, Jonathan.
Yes.
Who was he? Christian.
He was a Christian now.
Okay. Senate President. Wait, now, DSA. Senate President. Who was he? David Mark.
Yes, he was a Christian.
Speaker, House of Representatives.
No, but they are just saying, you are talking of Christians. They are saying
all of them were Christians as of that time, including the Chief Justice of Federation, Aloysius Castina Alu. Obasanjo.
Yes, Obasanjo said they shouldn't be Muslim. He didn't say they shouldn't be Christians.
So that's why I'm saying that's nonsense. That's nonsense statement from a guy who has lost.
No, but he's right now that they are all Muslims.
But how is that a problem? That's the cynicism we are talking about.
For me, it's not the problem because merit is what matters.
Yeah, but that's the cynicism we are talking about that Obasanjo is used to all his life. Because those guys I just mentioned now, during Jonathan's time, in fact, there was a time all the service chiefs, only one was Muslim. And that was the time Speaker.
But that's okay. Let me tell you what Biafra Radio said.
Okay.
They said that this new speaker for the House of Representatives,
yes, sir,
Agbaja something.
Agbaja Abiola.
What?
Agbaja Abiola.
What kind of name is that? He should have thought something about his name.
That's his surname now. Femi. His name is Femi.
He should have come up with some.
Agbaja Abiola. Well, that's a Yoruba name for you.
So that Baja something.
Yeah, you can just call him Baja.
Yeah. So the Biafra Igbos are saying that the guy was a Christian, that he was even born again, and I think the
Fanika.
Yeah, I think he's supporting them.
No, he can't.
That the guy used to be born again, and that he became a Muslim just before them to elect him as the speaker.
No, he has always been Muslim. He's always been Muslim.
And
always.
that he even went with the president to Mecca.
He's always been going to Mecca.
For him to get the position.
Yeah. That's a propaganda radio. So you won't expect them to say. You won't expect them to say. Femi Gbajami has always been Muslim. The only difference is that if you
but what do you think yourself? That everybody is a Muslim now?
It doesn't
because
matter.
Before they were accusing the government of Islamization. Now they have given them weapons.
No, there's no weapon to that. It's just for cynical minds. I've just mentioned when everybody was a Christian. Number 2, we just talked about Democracy Day now, and we're talking about the Abiola situation. What happened then that we did not care that King Gibe was Muslim, Abiola was Muslim? Okotie was self-appointed, what's it called?
Which Okotie?
Our Chris Okotie.
Chris Okotie, okay.
He was campaigning massively then. A lot of Christian pastors, in fact, Idahosa was campaigning massively. Because then we understood what national fiber means, what it means to...
They were campaigning for or against?
For him. They were
for Abiola?
For Abiola. Nobody cared if it was a Muslim ticket. So I think in Nigeria, of course, there are those who are always trying to build on our fault lines and all of these things. But at the end of the day, it will not matter because what we need is competency. We just need competence. I think so. Look at
is it not giving weapon to people who will be using it again?
DSA, if you breathe today, there are people who will be annoyed. Why is he breathing? He's breathing past glory. So at the end of the day, if it's and I think it was a US president who said that it's not the critics who count.
Yes.
So when people want to criticize, if they criticize on
Theodore
Roosevelt, yeah. If they criticize on things that have value, on national subjects, on issues that have value, we will hear. These are the same people who will be shouting restructuring. Buhari did one part, very important part of that restructuring. They are rejecting it. You know what that is, there?
Which one?
Local government autonomy.
That's very good.
That the state governor should not be controlling the finance of the.
No, not all of them reject it.
Most of the governors. Southeast governor and chairman, Akwa Ibom, for instance, all their chairman say no, and most of them are PDP state, and they are the ones always shouting instruction.
Yeah, but on the national level, PDP didn't fight against it so much.
Okay.
They didn't fight it as much as the Chief Justice.
Yeah, the Chief Justice.
You know the way they fought that one.
They fought for that one, really. And one was wondering, is he a PDP member?
Yeah, what is the problem?
A whole state just went to sue the federal government.
Just because they want to fire one person. Maybe you should tell people who want to call.
Oh yeah, I think because if we continue now, there's a whole lot to still talk about. So if you'd like to call, please write us on Move Agents. Move Agents, that's on Facebook Messenger. Write us on Move Agents and write that you'd like to call. Why we want you to write is so that there will not be interference with calls, when multiple calls are coming in. So, but if you write us, we'll know that you want to call, and then we'll give you a call immediately after a particular caller has finished. So just write us now, and we will get the discussion going by hearing from your side. We've talked about the Democracy Day. We've talked about Obasanjo. I was particular about that he is overrated. And as he has mentioned his achievement, many of those I do not disagree with. He's had some achievements, he's done some great stuff, but I still feel he's overrated, and probably in due course that will be much more proven. And maybe some of you will call and disagree with me and probably agree with DSA, but of course, you've seen that this is one particular day we have had full course to say DSA, no, I disagree with you on this one. And probably I will even still continue the discussion with him after the whole session has ended. But of course, today is Nigeria's first day of celebrating Democracy Day on the 12th of June. And the whole idea of that is to commemorate the sacrifice done by a lot of Nigerians, spearheaded and championed, heralded by the late Chief MKO Abiola. But of course, June 12th is much more bigger than Abiola. It's about the aspiration of Nigerians that was not allowed to live, the death and the suffering of so many Nigerians who labored to get Nigeria out of the military rule, to get us back to civilian rule and to democracy. Of course, one may be asking what's the difference between the two. Some people and a lot of political scientists would say that civilian rule is when there's a civilian in place. Democracy is when the people are actually involved, really. And the question would be that have we really fully matured into democracy, or we just have a civilian in place? Because when you're looking at the whole concept of vote buying, rigging, even some people will say the flouting of some fundamental principles of democracy, that probably Nigeria is not a fully fledged democracy. Yes, I would agree that we are quite nascent, but we must also appreciate the gains that we've had. And to quote the president today in his speech, that nation building takes time. Nation building indeed takes time, but he is very confident, and I am, that we have all the resources that it takes to make the nation great. So we'll be expecting your call. And I would just like to ask DSA what he thinks of the latest legislative agenda, which brought in the preferred candidate of the APC. DSA, what do you think about those APC members who went against the wishes of the party?
So this time too?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Two of them, yeah. In fact,
only two?
Yeah, two.
Thank God, only two. Not like before. We have call already. Hello? Good evening, sir. Who is calling from where?
My name
Israel Balogun, please make sure you speak closer to your device and louder, sir.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. I'm so happy to be part of today, a day that Nigerians have been yearning for. And thank to Dr. Bamishaye, sorry. So I think for this topic is very wonderful. And also, I want to also tell DSA that Obasanjo is overrated.
Okay.
Yes, he's overrated in many ways.
Okay.
The man should not even claim to be father of democracy as he tried to claim. One, DSA, Obasanjo instructed soldiers to level a whole village.
Yes, I know.
While he was in power.
I know about that, yes.
Obasanjo are the same person who introduced anti-corrupt graphs into Nigeria, is the one that used the same organization to fight his political opponents. The same man also, sir, who is claiming to have glory. It is the same man who cannot point to any achievement in Southwest when he was in power. Obasanjo didn't build Tomiland Bridge. Babangida built it.
Who built it?
Babangida tell that Tomiland Bridge was built.
Yeah, but what is the other bridge? What is the big bridge?
Qatar Bridge.
It's Qatar Bridge.
Qatar Bridge. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
So
that's the one
Obasanjo does not deserve to claim that the glory is assigning to himself. He doesn't deserve it. We are not disputing the fact that the man has achieved. And also, let me say, sir, what brought Yar'Adua into power was not because Yar'Adua deserved to be the president at that time, but because Obasanjo needed to compensate Yar'Adua's elder brother that happened to be in the same prison with him when he went to prison. Now, Obasanjo is aware that Yar'Adua, when he was a governor of his state, this guy is always out of the state for going to hospital every time. Most of the time, Yar'Adua was, as a governor, is in hospital. It was his deputy that was mostly ruling. Obasanjo was aware of it. Yongicho is able to sustain Singapore because his successor, he chose the right person to continue the work.
Who is the person?
Yongicho was able to choose the right person.
Yongicho is the pastor.
Hello?
Lee Kuan Yew.
Sorry. Lee Kuan Yew, I wanted to say. Lee Kuan Yew was able to choose the right successor that will keep on the work at Singapore. Obasanjo chose Yar'Adua. He chose what I call this man?
Jonathan.
Yar'Adua, Obasanjo knew that Yar'Adua is a sickler, that he has chronic heart disease. Obasanjo was aware. Even when he was having his campaign, he was rushed out of the country for treatment. Obasanjo was the one that came on stage on that very day to cover up for him. That was when he called him from the cell and said, Yar'Adua, they say you are sick. Is that true?
They say you are dead. They say you are dead.
Yeah.
They say you are dead. Is that true? Yar'Adua was speaking from where he was, that I'm not dead. He brought this man because of two reasons. One, he wanted to compensate the family of Yar'Adua. Secondly, Yar'Adua, Obasanjo was angry because of the third time that he could not get. And the reason why the man could not get the third time is very simple. The desperation in which he was going after it. This is written in the book of El-Rufai, how millions of naira was shared to all the members of Senate for them to vote in, how they carve out billions, ready to bribe every member of the Senate, House of Rep, and National Assembly, state assemblies, for them to vote in support of third time. Now the people began to question, why would somebody want to pay that amount of money just to get a third time? And that was why all of them said no, he won't get it.
That's even man too, particularly, who scored to the whole plan, because he got all of them down with that money.
Yeah. So to me, I agree. I want to say Obasanjo achieved. He picked the nation where it was. He did something great, but the glory he's trying to assign to himself, he doesn't deserve it at all. I'm a Yoruba man, funny enough, we came from the same state. Me and the man came from the same state, and then I want to say, the man does not deserve the glory he's assigned to himself.
But
he does not.
Do you agree with me that Yorubas have a, what do you call it, against him? They have a
bias?
No, yeah, a gut
or
against
vendetta.
Yeah, they have a, what is the new word they are using now in the world? They have a onions or what, something like that. Anyway, they have an anger and a bitterness against him. Do you know that Yorubas are not happy with him? So
yes, I agree, sir.
You agree, okay. But you will not. No, I want to ask the same question. I want to send the same question to Victor. I'm not saying you. I'm saying, do you agree that the Yorubas at large,
they don't like him?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm surprised that Victor admitted.
No, they don't like him, but the question will be why.
Okay.
Why? That's the why. Because why they don't like him is what we should find out.
No, okay. No, there is you people don't want to know the reason I asked the question.
Okay, sir.
Huh?
Yeah, please go ahead, Jesse.
I hope we have not set up something.
I asked the two of you, you say you are a Yoruba man and you come from the same state with Obasanjo.
Yes.
I said, but do you agree that the Yorubas have something against him?
Yeah.
You said yes. And you yourself just admitted you are a Yoruba man. And the Yorubas have something against Obasanjo. And Victor, who is sitting with me also here, is a Yoruba man. And he has something, and he admits that Yorubas have something against Obasanjo too. And he admits that he's a Yoruba man. And you are a Yoruba man. And Yorubas have something against Obasanjo.
You are a Yoruba man too, Jesse.
Yes. Yes, I am a lost soul that is seeking a place of rest. I am trying to come back.
Before they go and cut that session where they say I'm a lost soul, we are talking of politics, so because people now they go and cut it.
Yeah. So I'm trying to become Nigerian. Saturday we are having my Yoruba class. So we are trying to.
But you are still a Yoruba man.
I'm trying to come back.
But you are
Everybody was laughing at me with my Yoruba class.
We agree, but you are still a Yoruba man. So please go ahead and make your point.
Okay.
So that when you are wrapping us in, you are inside it.
Okay. So Yorubas hate.
They don't like him.
They don't like Obasanjo.
Yes.
And you said it's not because the question I should be asking is not that they like him or they don't like him.
It's why don't they like him?
It's why I should be asking.
Yes.
There might be reasons. I think I agree with that. And I think there are reasons for that.
A lot of
reasons. Okay. But it is totally different from, those reasons are totally different from his achievements. Because what you have just done now, Mr. Balogun, you have just repeated the same mistake. And I think, and I pray to God that maybe from this example now, and from this our talk, it will get to you guys. Don't ever try to argue like Nigerians argue. Don't ever try to make your points like Nigerians do. Nigerians base their points and arguments on sentiments and emotions and grievances. But that is what I'm saying. I want you to base your arguments on empirical evidences and facts and figures. Empirical evidences, facts and figures. I spoke for about 30 minutes or maybe 40 minutes, giving you facts of what he has done. And the term we are talking about, you know, the term we are debating is he overrated as a president?
No. That was not the point.
Or is he overrated?
We say as a man.
As a leader?
As a man. Because what we are talking about is the glory he tries to ascribe to himself, and that's the basis of
who said he's
that's what he's always been doing. That's what he's always been doing. Because what led us to this DSA was saying, why did he not recognize
his achievement?
His achievement as president. Even Jonathan, we can talk 30 minutes about Jonathan's achievement. Even though it was a failure.
Achievement.
But what we are saying now is that he is overrated, And there's a reason why the mainstream Yoruba people don't like him. Now, why is it that he did not acknowledge not Abiola, not Awolowo? You will never see Obasanjo acknowledge those two.
I have a problem with that too.
That's exactly because he wants to be the greatest man alive.
Well, you see what I'm trying to teach you people? I have the same grievances against him. Especially the fact that he, you know, after the 79 election, I was in Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Shagari didn't win outrightly.
He never won.
And he declared Shagari as the leader. So that is, I have my own grievances. The Abiola situation also, I have my own grievances. I have my other grievances on my own that is personal because we used to have a great man from my village, L.A. Obanjoko, and Obasanjo used to come to my village. He was in my village when he was even head of state.
Yeah.
But after his friend died, I have my own grievances. I don't want to talk about that. So, but apart from personal grievances and sentiments, I'm talking about overrated. When you say somebody is overrated, it means that he doesn't have the achievements he says he has. His achievements have been overrated.
Yes, you proved that today.
Yes,
when we were talking, when I asked you about this, Mr.
Balogun. Mr. Balogun, let Mr. Balogun speak.
The reason why we are saying is overrated is like when we say the mark is 10. And then you need to acquire this level. You need to have complete this task to have 10. If you complete this level of task, we'll give you 7. But at the point when a man is having the red pen with himself, he is not the one that will mark himself and rate himself. Not necessarily that he has not done something, but in the allocating time mark to what he has done, we are saying he has allocated higher mark.
But me, I'm the one allocating for him, not be him. I'm the one sitting down here. He's not Obasanjo sitting down here now. I am the one saying he did this.
You are defending him. You are defending his presidency. We are talking about the man. Everything that makes him up.
Even at
all his
that,
stories.
He himself has come out to say many things in presenting himself. Not that we're just saying he did not say it now. He has come out to say many things in presenting himself as the greatest Yoruba man that ever lived. That's why he will not publicly acknowledge some people who have done great things as well, like him. So
no, I think that Awolowo is a greater Yoruba man than himself.
Probably the greatest African.
I think the greatest Yoruba man that has ever lived is Awolowo. Is greater than Obasanjo for sure, and he did more than Obasanjo.
Obasanjo will never acknowledge that.
Of time that Obasanjo.
But Obasanjo will never acknowledge that.
Yes, but when you now take Nigeria as a whole, when you take Nigeria as a whole, and all other presidents we ever had, you cannot argue the fact that he had more results and better results than everybody else.
Yes, even for Murtala, is still
part of them.
It's still debatable to say he performed better than Murtala.
Yeah.
That's on the one. But what we are talking about now is the man Obasanjo and what he tries to present himself to be. We are saying he is overrated. And one of the arguments today was even the war, the Biafra war. He did not really fight, but he was the one who took the glory. Now, in taking the glory, it means he's overrated. Because when you look at the account of the fight, he did almost nothing. The guy who was fighting the fight was Adekunle, General Adekunle, and other people were controlling...
Black Scorpion.
Yeah, Black Scorpion, yeah. So,
and when he wrote his book, At My Watch, he practically took the glory of that battle. In his book, he was chronicled the war.
Yes,
as if
he fought the war. He fought the war. He fought the war, of course. The only thing is that he fought for 6 months, while other people fought for 3 years.
As a matter of fact, yes, sir. Practically speaking, Awolowo won that battle.
Yes.
Because for 2 years, Awolowo was even watching. He did not really contribute.
Awolowo won the battle with technical system he introduced of changing currency overnight. Mm-hmm. But this man did not acknowledge that in his work. So we are not saying that he has not done anything. But as a man, he has assigned higher mark to himself compared to what actually he has achieved. That's the bone of contention.
And if, even at that, Mr. Israel, just to even potentiate what you are saying, should we talk about the fact that our sitting president, when ASU was on strike, he was building his university?
Yeah, you are right, sir.
Or should we talk about the fact that cronyism was the order of the day in his government?
Yes, sir.
Should we talk about the fact that he himself is known as the father of corruption?
Father.
Even Fayoshe.
He introduced corruption to legislative system. He was the father who first began to let them taste millions, and they began to understand what they can be, what millions is. And with that, the legislature will even tell him whenever he makes noise that he should go and see that he's the one that the legislature will tell him to his face.
Why did he fight with Okadigbo?
Hello?
I said, why did he fight with Okadigbo?
Do you mean Obasanjo?
Yeah.
Now, Okadigbo was the man who gave some estimated amount spent in one of the celebration he had, that he bought cow for 3 million or whatever they call it and all stuff. He fought him basically on corruption and all stuff too.
So at the end of the day, Obasanjo, I understand he wants to launder his own image while he's still alive, but it will be to change history. And probably, I understand you are talking about his presidency compared to other presidents. No, we are not talking about that.
And for what he has done for Nigeria.
We are talking about the man as a man. Even when we talk about what he's done for Nigeria, we have to talk about the potentials of what he could have done compared to what he did. DSA. As of the time we are talking about, even just from the debt forgiveness that you've talked about, and you've said he did a lot of diplomacy.
How much did he leave in the covers of Nigeria?
How much could he have left? We have to talk about that.
You don't know that. Compare that to other people.
I understand. Because if you are listening to someone like
the oil booming started from his tenure, not even he met 8 naira, but the oil booming started from his tenure.
But he left
the oil booming started before he left power.
$60-something billion, the highest we ever had, yes. And the other people went and spent it. And
let's not say the other people. Jonathan
spent it, not other people. What a punishment.
That's So Jonathan spent all of those. So,
but do you people know that either we like it or we don't like it, that Obasanjo we are talking about is going to enter into the history of Nigeria as one of the fathers of modern Nigeria?
No doubt about that. But what we are saying is that let us measure him by the standards that he should be measured by, and not the laundering that he aspires to. Because what he wants to do is to usurp the image. The image and greatness of the great people like Abiola and Awolowo and the rest. But even Tinubu is now his major contemporary. But in the history of Nigeria, after all is said and done, all of those people will be greater than him. That's the point. That's why we say
what will make them greater than him?
Because of their contribution.
But that's you are going back to contribution.
Yeah, because of their contribution.
But that's what I'm saying, that his contribution is more than anyone else.
No, DSA, that's not just it. When you are talking about contribution, we're talking, I've just said, okay.
Achievements.
No, contribution is not necessarily achievement. Because once it comes to the big question of personal interest or national interest, Obasanjo many more times has lived more for personal interest. So that's what will make.
Will you base that on some facts?
Yeah, the facts are there, DSA. The facts are there. I just mentioned one. While ASU was on strike, Obasanjo was building private university.
What was the name of his university?
Bells University. Operation Feed the Nation, Obasanjo changed it to Otafam of Nigeria. Up until last year, federal government was still paying for the staffs that were there.
So that negates his achievement.
Soyinka was still saying that he was giving, although those were allegations, I don't know how much it could be proven, but the whole idea becomes that the cronyism that was in his government was so much. And all of those makes him overrated to me.
Maybe Israel would like to conclude.
They just keep quiet for us.
Is he still there? Is he still there?
Hello, Mr. Israel. I don't think he's there. You are not even...
Is he not? He's no more there. He's gone.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think at this point, DSA is not even going to argue anything again.
Because you are the majority now.
And when DSA keeps quiet like this, they'll say, okay. Since that's what you want to believe. But it's just that this is one point.
You know, this book you are saying,
Yeah.
if I want you to go and read that book, not this one,
The Beauty
of Nigerian Diversity. That's okay, that's good. But the one where I wrote about all the great leaders Nigeria ever had is this other one.
Nigeria and the leadership.
Nigeria and the leadership question. Go and read the chapter about Obasanjo there.
But even the chapter about Obasanjo.
This book and the chapter about Awolowo, Muritala Mohammed, Buhari, this book here will tell you more about Obasanjo and you will be able to value.
But even in this book, DSA, you rated Buhari more than Obasanjo.
At that time, that was the first time of coming of Buhari. You know, that's why I voted for him again. But in the total number of achievements, Obasanjo's achievement is greater in this book.
But the question would be, once Buhari come, like, and that's the whole point.
The Buhari we have now is a shadow of what we had.
Because of the prevailing circumstances, DSA. And that's the beauty of discussing with you, and of course, and this is the same reason why you didn't support all of these young guys. Because you know that the prevailing circumstance is not about who can talk best, but who can handle the situation better. If Buhari, if Obasanjo himself had met a political, you know, when he came in, they were the political class.
He acted better. No, Buhari acted better in his first and more decisively in his first coming. But compared to the second coming, when two of them are civilians, when you look at the civilian Buhari and compare it to civilian Obasanjo is like 10 times better than him.
The idea is that the circumstances were different.
They were even more difficult that time.
No,
during
Obasanjo really, in his first term, had little or no opposition. Because even when
the
he came...
oppositions were the Yorubas, APC, the Massa.
Do you know that when he was going for second term, and this one I'm telling you, he had really no opposition. That was how he was able to capture Southwest, by deceiving them.
Okay, will we have a caller?
Yeah, hello.
I this
Good evening.
Hello, DSA.
Yes, please speak to the microphone. Is that Mabel?
No, this is Abiola from London.
Oh, okay, Sister Abiola. Please speak to the device louder.
On a point of correction, Obasanjo did not build no Qatar Bridge. Qatar Bridge was built by the colonial masters before they left.
Are you
and
sure?
And Gowon built the Lagos Bridge.
Which one?
So Obasanjo, the Lagos Bridge.
Who built? Which one did Obasanjo build?
No, Obasanjo didn't build no bridge.
With Gowon now, yeah? Which one is that? With the Gowon government?
Gowon government built the Lagos mainland bridge. The Lagos
Island is that not the one I'm talking about? Because it was in this... okay, you are saying it is Gowon who built it?
Yeah, it was during Gowon's time.
But it was launched in 76 during the time of Obasanjo, no?
No, it was during the time of Gowon that the mainland bridge was built.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Okay, maybe you are right.
No, Obasanjo didn't build no bridge, and I agree with BAMISHAYE. Obasanjo is being overrated unnecessarily. You know, because the guy, I tell you what, during Obasanjo's civilian presidential thing, the Naira became, falling. That was when the Naira really fell. And then we were changing, pound to 200, 400. It was during Obasanjo's regime. Obasanjo did nothing for Nigeria. Obasanjo has nothing. And now that he's even causing confusion, I'm sorry, he has nothing to be, glorified for at all. If he could, be saying all this rubbish now, trying to destabilize the country, I can't see anything we can say Obasanjo did for Nigeria. To me, no. I don't agree at all. Obasanjo is pulling Nigeria down, is scattering Nigeria now with all his utterances as an old statesman, elder statesman. He's scattering the country now. I expect him as an old man, no matter what, he should be seeing more than what everybody should be seeing, because he was all along throughout since we got independence. So you should see more, and with more wisdom, even if you utter things out to the country to make the country better. Buhari is doing very well. Which means he's trying to have unnecessary voice. You look at when he wanted to have a third term. The constituency said 2 terms, presidential, and he wants to have third one. What does that mean? It doesn't make sense. He is trying to be unnecessarily in power to accumulate as much as he wants or whatever. He hasn't done anything. Neither fell when Obasanjo was president. Neither was when it fell 400, 500. I mean, it was terrible.
And petrol price was rising.
Came on, it was like, one something. But as soon as Obasanjo came in, because he was lavishing and spending the money that was being made, he just threw the country into what we have today.
Are you sure?
So that's my own contribution to it. Obasanjo has, thank God for today. Thank God what Buhari did for Abiola today, because I read Abiola's speech. I wasn't in court, but I read his speech today, and I really was so moved with what the guy said, how he won and all that. But it's unfortunate that he's dead now. But thank God for what was being done posthumously to him today. Because, Abiola would have been a good man if he can walk over the whole country like that to win an election at that time. It shows that Nigeria will soon come together.
I agree with you that the utterances of Obasanjo, even me, I disagree with them. But does that cancel all his achievements?
No, it hasn't got much achievement to me. I can see it. I can see. I'm telling you, I can see it. I can say, yes, I'm old enough as a Nigerian to know what is happening in that country. I can't see his achievement. Please, if he has any, it's like a pinch of salt. It doesn't make much meaning to, what we have, what the country, the whole country as it is now started from Obasanjo's presidential time to now.
Even BAMISHAYE that is sitting with me here and said he has one achievement, which was...
I think she's more radical than I am.
I was around when he was military head of state as well as a civilian head of state. Yes, I can't see it. To me, I can't see anything, to be honest with you. And his utterances now makes it worse. Even if he has any achievement, his utterances cancel it.
All of them.
Yes, my dear. Thank you very much.
You are very serious, man.
I'm very serious. You see, what word of the mouth. If Nigeria is going to scatter today, Obasanjo is uttering some word that will make Nigeria to scatter.
Yes, I don't like those. I don't like those myself. Yes.
But one can understand that the man is losing for the very first time.
Yeah.
Probably he's a very bad loser.
It doesn't matter, but he's in his old age. Give or take, we give him 10 years when he's going. But leave the country well before you go. Don't leave us in shambles, please. That's what we are saying.
I think it is the PDP people who confuse his head.
Well, you don't need it. You should better shut up. Anytime I see his comment on news, I make good comment and really blast him. Every comment I see on news. That's what I do. That's my job, because he hasn't done well for the country at all.
Okay, thank you, man.
We don't need that now. We need a country that is full of love. We don't need people to be putting hate. The country is already in, down. Don't put more hate in people's mind. Nigeria is a country with no love. So let's start building it up with words of our mouth, with love. Let people make comments. Good comment that yes, we are going to get there. We are going to get. That's how these people, Western world, they make good comment a lot, and that's why they are there. And we are somebody, and the other state man is still giving us. What does he want to become after being president? What does he want to become? God? No. Please.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your passionate support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The way she's spoken, many people would
That's
argue.
how many people would think.
Many people, even
especially the Yorubas, that's how they think.
Many, not even just Yorubas, many people argue and believe that even Abacha was a better administrator than Buhari.
No, I don't even think that you will repeat that kind of thing.
No, really.
They
know Abacha has his fault.
You know the same thing somebody tried to say. I think it was Bukhari that tried to say that Abacha was better than.
No. He said that whatever you think of Abacha, that he was building,
at least
he built infrastructures. Yeah. But these ones we are not doing anything.
You know,
especially the Jonathan, like I was telling, that was
so
the
now
worst in our
say
history.
it's better than even Jonathan is. You cannot say Buhari is better than Jonathan. I mean, not Buhari. Abacha is better than Jonathan. But to say Abacha is better than Obasanjo,
I said many people will believe that.
Because the
way you listed his achievements, what I'm trying to say is that it's not impossible to list even Abacha's achievements.
But Abacha was a tyrant.
He was a tyrant. Now you're talking of character. You're talking of character now. Obasanjo too.
He didn't have any achievement. He killed the country.
People also will say Obasanjo killed the country because people.
He resurrected the country after Obasanjo
who were opposed to him were just dying anyhow.
No, you're talking of killing people.
Yes.
But Babangida and Abacha will kill Nigeria as a country, as an economy.
Yeah, we won't disagree with that, but what we are saying is Obasanjo is overrated. But now, I don't know if we have a caller, but there's a question I wanted you to answer. Okay. And that's about the legislature. What do you think of members of a party going against the party? Do you think, I want you to talk about that in line with, what do you think is the correlation between party discipline and democratic entrenchment?
You know, in some countries, if you come to the parliament on the platform of a certain party, there is a legislation that says you cannot move. If you want to move, you should rather resign and then come back to another party. I think might need to do that kind of law in Nigeria.
Yeah, but even before that, let's say people stay in the party and defy the party structure. Do you think that is good?
Because you cannot do that in America, for example. In America, either you resign totally and say you are now independent or you are no more something, or you cannot just be crossing like that. It's not allowed. I think in America too. But in many countries, it's not allowed. But it's not good. You could say it is democracy, that you have your freedom, but you use the platform that is bigger than you, which is the party. The party is always bigger than one individual. Yeah. So if you why did you use the party? If you are not going to disagree, if you are going to disagree with them, tell them within the something that I disagree. And then when you come forward, you don't want to do something against your conscience, don't vote. You know, there is something they call abstain. Abstain. But for them for you to now publicly go against the people, it's just like saying somebody, a child that is going to fight his father or his mother. I don't think it's, resign. In the Western world, people resign. Even in England now, all those, now I think Boris Johnson wants to come for prime minister maybe, but maybe he will not win, maybe he will win. But when the thing, see how many people resign. Boris resigned, another one resigned. They just resign. They don't move to another party. They just, when they are they have conflict with something, they just resign. And that is what we should be doing in Nigeria. But to be moved to another party, it shows their weakness. And then to be fighting your party in public, just resign. Or just go back, just resign.
And some other people are saying that those who, in supporting those who were going against the party, they are saying that so far the party wants these people, it means the president wants to control the legislature. But where do we draw the line between rubber stamp assembly and a friendly legislature? Because it would be as though people want some sort of confrontation, and that's what we show that they are not rubber stamp. But if there's that confrontation, I'm thinking it would be inimical to the growth of the nation, just like we had in the last year. So where do you draw the line between that?
If rubber stamp legislation, the president is going to control. Is that not his party? That's president's party. And that's why presidents have party in the first place. They create parties so that parties will support their decision. Okay. And the president is a representative of the party to bring to pass all the decisions of the party and the legislations and the ideology and the policies of the party to implement in the country. So the party should rather be, it's the norm.
Yeah. So it's not rubber stamp. It's just what is.
That's just the way what they call democracy, not just in Nigeria, all over the world.
All over the world.
That's the way it works.
Exactly. Because many times people just think it's until there's a fight that people are not rubber stamp. But the concept of it is that the party had an ideology. They pushed the ideology or their message. They voted a president and they voted.
Can you imagine with the in America? Let's talk about Donald Trump. You know, he has a very bad reputation, even among his own party people.
Yeah.
But all the same, that party is still behind him.
Yes.
That party is still mainly voting for his decision. You know, despite all the disagreement they have, they are still he's still carrying the party along. He was not even a member of the party. He just joined the party
for the election.
But still, that is the order. That's the way democracy works. They still stood behind him. So that's the way democracy works. But before we go, I have a new book.
Yeah, I saw that book, and
Anu
was the one who was telling me about it, and I was like, okay, he was shocked about the title. Ladies Forget About Marriage, Build Your Life. And we're talking about how direct it is, but people would just...
Yeah, I want to talk to you about it. What do you think about it, this book?
Yeah, for me, I think...
Ladies Forget About Marriage. Yeah. It's too shocking?
Yeah, to the average African mindset now, it's shocking because somehow for ladies, they are being groomed for marriage right from the early age. It's like everything they are telling a lady is how to behave to be married, how to make sure men will want you, how to please your husband and all of those. But to now say forget about marriage, then probably you've taken away what many of them are living for. But the way the title is, it is direct. It already states an argument or the topic for an argument, and people will only need to read it to find out why you came to this conclusion. But I do agree with you that the building of life is the most important, and that no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter how far you've come, if you build your life, you would always find the fulfillment within. And that is the most important, because the fulfillment within that will attract the people without to you. And if marriage comes from that, it's good. If it doesn't, people must begin to realize that friendship is the highest form of human relationship, and that the moment you begin to build your life, you will attract the best forms of friendship. And
but I'm surprised that you are not noticing what the naysayers will say about this book.
That you are married, Abi?
That could be it.
I'm trying to think as a naysayer, and it's not working. So, that you don't want people to get married?
That's too obvious.
Please rescue me, dear.
You can't see it?
Not yet.
Okay. Naysayers will look at this book and say, we told you that this guy is an antichrist.
Okay.
Because the Bible says, thou shalt not be alone. Or, no,
for this reason, man
it's no good
for a man to be alone.
Yes.
Okay.
That God instituted marriage.
Okay. Then I will have to
Can you get it now?
I get it.
God instituted marriage, and here comes the essay and says women shouldn't marry.
But me, I will ask them, who is Jesus' wife?
Then you have to go into argument.
Because for me, that would be the most important question. If God instituted marriage and they sent his son here,
and he said it is not good for man to be
alone. For man to be alone, and he was a man here, who is his wife?
Well, the thing I wanted to also let them pay attention to is that between those two statements,
yes, sir.
Ladies forget about marriage and build your life. Yes. There is something between them.
But I think I can't read that from here.
What about from here?
Marriage won't make you happy. Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Because if you try to just be thinking about marriage and go to marry without building your life, that marriage won't make you happy.
Yes, I totally agree with
But if you want to have a marriage that will be happy or make you happy, then you have to do the second thing before you do the first thing.
Yes, sir.
So that is the little detail that is in this book that people will not see.
Your
Especially
book,
the naysayers.
Only Fools Fall in Love, have you released that yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, because I think it will potentiate
Yes.
the whole idea.
Yeah.
Of course, I know you become from different
Angles.
I think this one is mostly for ladies. But yeah, that's the concept. And I think about 4 years ago...
Because this book is not really saying don't marry.
Yeah, it's not saying don't marry.
What they will say is that DSA is against marriage.
Well, DSA have said
because the thing here is, this title is actually about priorities.
Yes. Yes. Priorities.
What you come first.
And personality.
Yes.
And personality.
Yeah.
I think 3 or 4 years ago, we were talking with Anu and we were noting then how the moment a lady even gets into a relationship, just boyfriend though, people stop calling her by her name.
Why?
They start saying, let's say it's Anu's girlfriend.
Okay.
So let's say it was Babusha now. Her name was Babusha. They'll stop calling her Babusha. They'll stop describing her as Babusha. If they want to describe her, Anu's girlfriend.
Wow.
The same thing moves till when she gets married. And you know, at the end of the day, she is still going to take the man's name eventually. So everything becomes official. All the identity is lost in the man.
You know, Michelle Obama wrote a book. It's not enough to be somebody else's wife.
Oh, I've not read that.
Somebody else's wife. So it's better to say, no, don't just live to be somebody
else's wife.
Yeah, somebody else's wife. And say, I am Mrs. something. I am Mrs. No, build your own life.
Yes. Yes, and that is exactly what it is. That by the time you build your life, your name would have been sustained enough that nobody will be able to describe you by another person. Yeah, but we live in a world that, especially within the African settings, that is teaching you to build your life to be able to build your husbands. And then after building your husband, you build your child's. But at the end of the day, you are lost in all of it. You are lost in all of it. And when Buhari said that his wife belongs to the kitchen, and of course the statement may be wrong, but a lot of people were
you have to try to understand what he meant.
Yeah, people were backlashing on him. I felt their hypocrisy. Because
it's the same thing in most families.
I'm asking the person writing, how is your father treating your own mother?
Maybe you yourself.
How will you treat your own wife? Maybe, do you have a caller? Okay. How will you treat your wife? How you know, in almost every African home, that's the way it is, the subserviency they put the woman into. That's number one. Not to even talk about that the fact that the man is not doing that to his wife in the real sense, but just the state,
giving her a lot of liberty.
The way he comes to criticize her, how many of the way she comes to criticize him. How many of your mothers, our mothers,
even in
your own house, can speak against your or our dad like that? So
talk less of publicly.
You know, talk less of publicly, just even within the house DSA. So you see that the whole structure of the society is built that way. And so when the backlash was coming, for me, I was just saying hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It was just sheer hypocrisy. People just wanted to talk. Yeah. But in the real case, we need to address this issue where women are only built to raise men and children.
To raise men?
Yeah. To raise...
Do they raise men?
They start training their men. I'll give you an example.
Their husbands?
Yeah. That's why no matter what now, the lady is trained, for instance, to put up with whatever the guy does.
That is true.
So they raise the lady to be a good wife, but we never really bother with the
they call
guys.
It you are the helper something.
Yeah, home builder. You are the one
helper. You are your husband's helper.
Yeah. That one. Then number two, you are the home builder. The home depends on you. So everything.
A good wife must
be subservient.
A wise wife.
Yeah, Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 woman.
A wise woman builds her own home.
Her home. So at the end of the day, women lose track of themselves, and that's why even in Nigeria today, people are saying they are not giving women society positions, but the question is really
the society has already silenced them.
So you are not seeing them in the places that matter.
But me personally, if there is any interest, if the wife of Buhari has any interest, I would have supported her for a political officer, either a governor or president even.
In fact, the moment Buhari came in, I watched her interview. She was saying that me and Bokalo, and they know me in the house.
Okay.
That they call her general in the house.
Eh?
Yeah, she said that. The interview is on YouTube. First week, immediately after the man came in and she was going to be first lady, that they know she is never shy to express herself. And that was when I knew that she had a master's degree and she runs a spa as of that time. So, but ladies must be taught, especially in Nigeria and Africa, what it means to build their own lives first, and then every other thing will follow.
Before they marry.
Yeah. So I truly, of course, the content I believe would expatiate more, but it is a real issue that you are addressing here, DSA. And if this issue will be addressed, I think we will be saving the nation, because most of the woes also come from the fact that from the beginning, ladies were denied education. And so we had a lot of illiterate mothers, and the children spend more time with their mother. So what's an illiterate mother going to put in the child that's spending a lot of time with her? So that was happening before, and now that we're even sending them to school, we are still telling them. I met a lady who was a law
graduate.
She's a graduate now, but then she was in her final year, and all she was thinking about was marriage. I was shocked. I could not believe it. It was like cultural shock for me.
No, if you talk among women, that would be normal.
Like all she wants to do is now she wants to get married.
Most women among themselves, that's what they talk about.
Well, maybe it's a woman, but I could not imagine it. What do you want to do? Your career, your life, what are the marriage? Why marriage? Why are you putting yourself under that pressure?
Most of them are thinking about that.
All your mates are married,
So what?
So, but the idea is because
society
has taught them to.
Please, I still need to come back in the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes for my second program, Understanding Service and Stewardship. So, what do we do?
Yeah, I think we'll just round up now. And appreciate everyone and thank everyone who has contributed to this program.
We only have 2 callers today, and the 2 of them were supporting you.
I don't know what we do now.
The 2 of them are Yoruba women. Yoruba people. Man and woman.
Well,
they say you yourself are Yoruba. They call me Yoruba pastor or whatever.
Yeah, call you Yoruba pastor. Those are the IPOB people. Yeah, ABC pastor. Well, they should be waiting for your Yoruba class on Saturday.
Ooh, people were really. People said they were shocked. But I think the problem is that the guy was speaking too deep Yoruba to me. Number one, then number two, he wanted me to speak Yoruba straight. But I can speak Yoruba, but I have to speak at least 80% of them in English. But he didn't want me to do 80%.
I understand how that works with you, because you are thinking in one language,
yes,
translating it to English before you are getting to Yoruba.
Yes.
So that process is slow. So it's just like, for me now, if you are speaking English to Russian to me,
okay,
I'm hearing it, I have to translate it to English in my head to understand it. If I want to speak, I have to think about what I want to say in English, then translate it to Russian.
With Yoruba, that's the way it was.
So, but you are thinking particularly in Russian, and you are just even coming back to start thinking in English, and not to now say you are thinking in Yoruba. Of course, no matter how superhuman you are for a language you've not spoken in a long time, it will take you time. But I think the fact that you've taken up the challenge,
I'm listening to radio.
And you're listening to radio. And probably, of course, the Yoruba films.
I
that
don't
one
have time.
That one will bore you.
No, I don't have time for that one.
That one will bore you. But if you had the time, it should have, you would have been able to hear conversations within a dialogue setting. That would have also helped. But of course, that you took the challenge is commendable. And for those who call you Yoruba pastor, at least they will have their video clips to show them. And so when you mentioned
people were saying they were laughing.
Yeah, even I was laughing.
At
Even
my
I was
Yoruba.
laughing, yeah, of course. Even I was laughing. But I think you still remember some words where you will need to get to is in phrases, and it will come back bit by bit.
Phrases, then sentences.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
it's been a good day today, and happy Democracy Day to Nigerians, and the legacy of Abiola lives on. The
When
legacy.
will the president announce the cabinet?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I hope now he has no excuse, actually. No excuse. Even I would be one of those who will start criticizing him if I notice any.
In the next 2 weeks, he has to do that.
I hope in the next 1 month.
Month?
I will be looking at month, yeah.
I'm thinking of before, by the end
No,
of
I'll give him.
June.
I'll give him till mid-July, because I will also expect the assembly themselves to sort out
Something.
some things, and yeah, I will give him till 1 month. But what I'm just trying to say is that as of now, because before I was not criticizing him particularly because many people were criticizing him just for criticizing sake, and so there were very little voice of reason. And so not all of us could just be criticizing him on every small thing. But as of now, I believe he has little or no excuse.
Because they control the Senate.
Because now they control the Senate and put the frameworks. If you've put on the framework and it's slow, we will understand that it's process. But if you are not doing anything, even I will join the criticism party. Yeah, you want to say something, Jesse?
Yeah, I think he controls the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
And then he's going to control the ministers and the cabinet.
Yeah, and now they are going to nominate 5 new Supreme Court justices.
And from him too.
Yeah, it will be from him. So he has written the Chief Justice for that. And if the Special Anti-Corruption Court is passed and the new Administration of Criminal Justice Act is passed, yes, sir.
What about the Petroleum Act?
Yeah, that one will come in stages, because petroleum is very complicated in Nigeria. But of course, the ones that touch the life of the average Nigerians are the police, hoping that there could be state police. But of course, the question is how do states fund
But
it?
I don't want state police.
But yes, I think there was a topic we've not spoken about, which is who is responsible for Nigerians' poverty?
Yes, we have to speak about it.
I don't know when we will have
And
that
one
time.
day we have to also speak about police.
Police, state police, right? Okay. So maybe we should
You
talk
have
about
to write
state
it
police.
State police, and who is responsible for poverty, local government, state government, or federal government.
Yeah. So we'll
Let's
talk
go,
about all of that.
because I need to come back in the next 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
All right. So thank you guys, and it's been a very good time. I'm sure a lot of people were surprised to see us on different
It
sides of
happens all the time now. He's only among us. Yeah,
amongst
yeah.
us. When I was saying that when I came back, DSA was still not saying I was going to
Yes,
support
I was not
Buhari.
going to, yeah.
But this was probably one of this was the time you see us outside
Publicly.
Yeah. But many times I've had 1 or 2 reasons to disagree,
Definitely.
and I've even seen a few people. But those who don't know are those who just keep saying what they have to say. But in any case, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope it was informative, and I hope we are going to see you next week. And God keeping us, we are also going to have a good time. So I will let DSA say goodbye and see you next week.
Yes, the beauty about the whole thing is that the beauty of Nigerian diversity, the beauty of Nigerian diversity, is part of it is for us to disagree and for everybody to be allowed to have their own opinions. And that is, the diversity of opinion, the diversity of, positions, that is the beauty. That's why we should entertain everybody. Diversity of cultures, diversity of, nationalities, tribes, opinions. Beauty, that is what makes us Nigerians, and let's just enjoy it. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you in the next 10-15 minutes. Peace.